Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, you guys.
Jonathan Voico.
Good morning.
Chris Carr is here.
Hello.
But most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or topic you'd like us to discuss, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and fire it on in right now to our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. But here's the good news. If you're not watching live and can't get in a question for the end of the show, maybe you're listening to our podcast on one of the many podcast feeds, either on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or maybe you're watching the show a little bit later in the day. You can still use this tip link. It's good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just fire in your question whenever you'd like. And if it's not when we're live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. First of all, quick thing. I was going to do some out of the theater reactions last night, but because the movies were together, I forgot to bring my laptop. I was going to bring my laptop so I could, get out of the theater, do a quick review, make the thumbnail, upload it, all that kind of stuff. And I forgot to bring it. So we'll just review the movies I saw yesterday today. All right. With that all down, guys, let's get things started here with this, shall we? One of the more anticipated things coming to Disney Plus right now is Daredevil Born Again. Now, of course, when they first announced it, everybody was excited. I mean, it wasn't going to be connected to the Netflix series, unfortunately, but they were still bringing back several of the original cast. And the great thing was they were going to have 18 episodes, which was awesome. Well, Kevin Feige wasn't really happy with the way the show was transpiring and the way it was coming all together, but Bob Chapek wasn't going to let him stop and start again. Then Bob Iger came back and said, Kevin Feige, you can do what you want. Kevin Feige said, great, let's stop it. We're going to take this thing back to the drawing board. We are going to connect it to the Netflix series now, and we're going to go in this different direction. So everybody's really excited about, although unfortunately we probably won't get 18 episodes anymore, but yeah. So now here we are with the new Daredevil Born Again coming, and one of the big questions that a lot of people have had ever since they announced it was, is it going to be Disneyfied? Are they going to tone it down? Are they going to have, less? Is it going to be a PG-13 version of Daredevil? Now, a lot of people felt a lot better once Deadpool came out. When Deadpool and Wolverine came out, which was far more rated R than anything Daredevil ever did, then that alleviated some concern, but this was going to be straight to Disney Plus. How would they feel about it? Well, according to Charlie Cox, he's saying this thing's going to be even darker than the Netflix one. This comes to us from the folks over at Games Radar, who are quoting Cox when he said this. The thing that we kept talking about was this show has had the success that it's had and has appealed to a very specific demographic because it's one of the few superhero shows that is so dark and sinister at times, said Cox to Entertainment Weekly. So we really pushed for the show to remain geared towards an older audience and not dumbed down to kind of capture a wider net of people. I think in some ways it's even darker and a lot of the stuff we've done than a lot of the stuff that we've done in the past. Now, this kind of coincides. You guys might remember a few weeks ago, I talked to somebody at Disney who kind of mentioned to me, and I didn't know how seriously to take them, said, this Daredevil Born Again is going to be more violent than the one on Netflix was. And now hearing Charlie Cox saying, yeah, this is in many ways, this is a darker show than even what we did on Netflix. Now, a lot of people will be quick to dismiss that. And I've seen people quickly dismiss it, saying, no, it's Disney. It's Disney. They're going to say, and I would maybe think there was some credence to saying, no, they won't do that. It's Disney. If it wasn't for Deadpool and Wolverine. And not just the existence of Deadpool and Wolverine, but the fact that they did indeed take Deadpool and Wolverine after a long theatrical run and put it on Disney Plus and other things that they putting on there. So it sounded like the change of direction that they took back, half a year ago or more, they decided to go a little bit more extreme. Chris, I'm not sure how much darker or more violent Daredevil can get, but it sounds like that's what they're aiming for. What's your reaction to these comments?
Well, first of all,
more violent, more graphic does not necessarily mean that's going to be a better show.
Yeah,
We've talked about that ad nauseam.
More R doesn't automatically equal better.
Exactly.
But it does make you a pirate.
It does. Absolutely. Drink your lime juice so you don't get scurvy. Boom. That being said, I am excited because I love the brutality of the Netflix Daredevil, and I'm very interested in this. One of the things that Netflix did, though, is a lot of times we cut away from some of the more graphic ideas of violence, and we, the audience, fill in those gaps.
Yeah,
The
which can be
hardcore
more
scene.
effective.
Exactly. We always talk about this reference of in the comics with, the Green Lantern, of the girlfriend shoved in a refrigerator. We really don't see much of her disembodied body, but we all fill in those gaps and go, this is the worst death I've ever seen. But we didn't really see it. Same thing with this. We don't really see Kingpin just bludgeon people to death. It's mostly we see blood splatters and the implication of some of these things. I'm wondering if we're not going to pull away as much in this one, if this is more brutal, if we're going to see more of this violence enacted on screen, because that would be one of the bigger differences for me there. Now, just as a reminder to our audience too, tonally Daredevil has been all over the place throughout its comic book history.
Oh, yeah, completely.
So we can have epic, brutal fight scenes and still have levity. Daredevil famously wore a Halloween costume with a sweater saying, I'm Daredevil.
Right.
Like, he's a goofball sometimes as well. So they have a lot of opportunity to do a lot with this show. As much as I love the Netflix one, I think we all also need to kind of take a step back and say, hey, even though these are the same characters, even though these are the same players, let's allow this show to breathe on its own and let's see how we feel about it as its own entity. And while it's so difficult to not compare and contrast, especially because when the Daredevil series came out initially, we just had the Ben Affleck movie to kind of compare it to. It's hard to compare against something that's really, really good. But I think we just need to let this be its own thing and maybe even take the Disney aspect of it out of the equation and just go, hey, there's a new Daredevil series. Let's see what it's like. And not assume that the House of Mouse is going to make it kiddified.
I like the thing you were saying about how, like, a lot of shots in Daredevil, they will pull away and let us fill in the gaps. The comics themselves have done that. Like, I'll be honest with you, one of the most, to me, horrifying and graphic panels or frames of any comic book ever was Death in the Family, when Joker was beating Jason Todd to death.
Oh, yeah.
The most horrific frame was the camera wasn't even on Jason. It was straight. The frame was Joker
With the swinging.
crowbar, with a few little blood splatters coming up. Like, that was one of the most disturbing panels of comic book I've ever read. And you weren't even seeing Jason's head getting caved in by a crowbar. So I think, if you look at the violence in Daredevil, or I should say in Deadpool, I think you're right. I think they will still employ that, but show a little bit more. But anyway, who knows which way they'll go with it. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about these comments being made about the new Daredevil series? Do you buy it? Are you still on the train that you think they're going to kind of Disneyfy the show? Did Deadpool go, yeah, that was super R and super violent and a lot of skin getting ripped off people's bodies and decapitations and all that kind of stuff, but this isn't Deadpool? I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? It's been over 3 years since the last James Bond movie came out. No Time to Die, which wasn't the best one. It had its upsides. It wasn't its best one, but it was the final one of Daniel Craig, who has honestly been my favorite James Bond. I've said this before. To me, he was the perfect mix of the badassness of Sean Connery Bond with the suaveness of the Roger Moore Bond. That's why I've always really liked him. And the movie, it made over $700 million, if I'm not mistaken. So it did very well. But we were all expecting, once No Time to Die came out, that we would soon hear about who our new Bond is going to be. We're 3 years on, and we still have no idea who the new James Bond is going to be. We've heard no movement about, bringing on directors or a writer or anything. 3 years. Well, now we might know why. The Broccoli family that owns and controls the James Bond character, and Amazon Studios that are now the studio of James Bond, apparently fucking hate each other. They are not getting along at all, and they are at a stalemate creatively when it comes to Bond, at least according to the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal, here's a couple of excerpts from what they wrote, said this. Nearly 3 years after Amazon acquired the rights to release James Bond movies through its $6.5 billion purchase of MGM Studio, the relationship between the family that oversees the franchise, that's the Broccoli family, and the e-commerce giant has all but collapsed. The decaying partnership has scuttled any near-term hope of a new James Bond film. A black eye for Amazon's ambitions in Hollywood, since at the time of the MGM sale, the Bond franchise represented a significant share of the $6.5 billion that the company paid for the studio. I mean, a big reason why it was $6.5 billion was just getting the rights to do James Bond. Goes on to say, to friends, Broccoli has characterized her thoughts on Amazon this way, quote, "These people are fucking idiots," end quote. A representative for Eon, the company firm behind the Bond film, said Broccoli and other members of the family had no comment. The two sides are at an impasse. Amazon needs Broccoli to furnish them with ideas for a new James Bond movie. They can't do one without them. But Broccoli doesn't want to make a new Bond movie with Amazon. And so we have a standoff. Wow. I mean, listen, I remember about a year and a half ago, one of our viewers wrote in and said, what's the holdup? And I was like, hey, you know, they usually when they switch Bonds, they'll have a little bit of a break. But after 2 years, 2.5 years, once we got to 3 years, over 3 years, and still having no idea what's going on, even I started to wonder, like, what's happening here? The people controlling Bond in the studio that controls Bond do not get along. And apparently they're not seeing eye to eye. So I didn't get anything in it about what necessarily what the specifics of the impasse are. Maybe they're the direction they want to take Bond. Maybe it's they have a disagreement over who they want to be Bond. Maybe they just don't like the way each other does business. I don't know. But this is one of those situations where I wish and I'm sure many of you feel the same way, I wish I could sit down in a room with Jeff Bezos and the Broccolis and say, money's money is all that money. Like, okay, you don't like each other. Fine. Come up with something.
Yeah.
Because you guys are burning money. You're literally, and even if, oh no, we can get around to doing another movie, that's fine. Yes, I'm sure eventually you will. But in that time, you could have had 2 movies or whatever. Like, you are literally just burning money at this point. Like, every day that goes by that you're not working on a James Bond film is just, you're losing out on long-term legacy of the character. I'm not saying they have to rush into production on a movie today. I'm not saying that. But to find out that the whole reason there's been no movement on James Bond is because it's got 2 sides going, no. Now listen, if we find out that it's a major creative thing, I don't know, maybe Amazon wants a female Bond, and we already know the Broccoli's. Barbara Broccoli has said, hey, there's a lot of things we can change about James, but he's James, right? James can be white, black, Asian, whatever, it doesn't matter, but James has to be James. Like, the maleness of James Bond, you know me, I'm all for changing all the characters. I'm fine, as long as whatever changes you make to the character doesn't interrupt one of the core essential things that practically defines who and what that character is. And I think James Bond is one of those characters where, actually, you know what? His maleness is the main defining characteristic of what even motivates his personality and his actions and everything that we've known about James Bond. But again, I don't know that. I'm not saying Amazon wants a female James Bond. I'm just saying maybe we find out there's some major thing like that.
Sure.
Maybe Amazon wants James Bond to have superpowers. So you know what? The kiddies love superheroes today.
Yeah.
What if James Bond took an experimental British super soldier serum and maybe the Broccolis are like, nah, we're not going to, I mean, I don't know. But barring something extreme like that, guys, get over yourselves. Don't like each other. That's fine. But shake hands, make a deal, and get a movie made.
Sure.
Because at this point, Chris, like, let's say tomorrow they announced everything was fine.
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting another James Bond movie till 2027.
Yeah.
Even if they shook hands tomorrow. So I don't know. You read all this stuff from the Wall Street Journal. I don't know. What are the first thoughts through your head?
Oh, it's messy. I love it. It's so messy. You also have to remember that saying these people are fucking idiots in a posh British dialect makes it such a classy move.
So all I hear is the Queen's voice saying
Exactly.
it.
It's just very goose-lipped. These people are fucking idiots. I love it. If you're going to drag somebody along for money, I mean, Jeff Bezos can be in it for the long run. He's worth, what, $234.5 billion. So money isn't an issue for that party, right? But it is disappointing for all of us who are fans. The idea of not getting another Bond movie potentially like before we or after we get the next Spider-Verse movie is kind of bananas to me with all the messiness there too. If it is something like they wanted to do a female Bond or something like that, we aren't sure. For me, it's one of those moments of we can have a really cool female spy who doesn't have to be James Bond.
Right.
Because we already had a 007 that was really, really badass and female. And I think that's a cooler thing. We don't need somebody else's hand-me-downs in that kind of way. Create a new character.
Speaking of female James Bond super spy, Lashana Lynch, who was in No Time to Die, played another British super spy agent in Day of the Jackal.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
She's great in that, by the way. She's really good in that.
And I think that's the thing you do. You don't need to make James Bond Jamie Bond or something like that. If they are having creative differences, you bring in some really excellent writers. You have some non-negotiables too between each party. Hey, what are the things that are the core values of this character? We see this with all the Superman stuff we're covering, right? Legacy characters. What are things that are intrinsically tied to the core and values of this character? What makes them them?
Martinis,
shaken not stirred, cars, gadgetry. Yeah, if somebody pitched, hey, instead of having, laser pens, he's got laser vision. Yeah, that'd be a stupid thing to do in this movie. But I'm sure once they boil down, hey, what are the things that we can all agree on makes a James Bond film, and then bring in some incredibly talented writers and directors to have more discussions, then they should be able to find common ground. Right now, it feels like a lot of just kind of big chesting up energy of, I know what this character is, you don't.
Yeah.
We're not in the room, so I can't fully make that assumption, but that's what it feels like. And I think everyone just needs to grow up a little bit and make a good movie.
I won't grow up. I won't.
It will be interesting to find out what the stalemate is.
Yeah.
Like exactly what is that wall too high to climb over. So we'll find out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Why haven't we heard any movement on James Bond film? Because the people in charge don't get along and they can't come to an agreement of some kind. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this whole ridiculous situation, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? A couple of significant movies are opening up this weekend. Sonic 3 and Mufasa the Lion King. Last night, Ann and I went and did a double feature to watch both of them. We'll talk about Sonic in a bit. But I want to start off by talking about Mufasa. Mufasa, if you know me, you know I'm not really big on prequel stories. There are definitely prequel stories that I do like, absolutely. But in general, like I prefer stories moving forward rather than backwards and all that kind of stuff. But when I found out that Barry Jenkins was going to be directing it, the guy behind Moonlight, like, oh, all right, I'll definitely give that a shot. So I went off to see Mufasa. Here's my basic feelings on it, and then we'll break down the good and the bad. Mufasa's a nice little movie. It's actually a nice little movie. Ironically, the worst part of the movie for me was the music. And you are looking at a card-carrying certified fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda. I love Lin-Manuel Miranda and I love his music. But it didn't click. And as a matter of fact, I felt like the first thing I said to Anne when I came out of Mufasa was, I think this movie would have been a good 20% more enjoyable if the songs were just taken out. Because I feel like because they've got Barry Jenkins put together a nice story. And I feel like the story would get rolling and then, okay, everybody, hold up. We got to do a song number now. Got to do song number. And I love music in movies when done right. Love it. But it didn't quite click here. And you got 5 or 6 musical numbers in it, and it always felt like it just stopped the story. And yeah, again, listen, the whole idea about these 2 cubs who find each other, one's kind of orphaned, one is from a royal family, being Scar, whose original name is Taka. and them growing up as brothers, and then, you know, all that kind of everything that happens. Yeah.
Didn't you say the same thing about Joker too? The way you felt about Joker?
Oh, yeah, the
that
music-
was
yeah.
just shoved in or something like
Yeah,
that.
the music in Joker 2. I mean, Joker 2 would have been terrible no matter what.
Oh, okay.
But the music selections in it, I thought it was a very neat idea to kind of make Joker a semi-musical, but it didn't work. It really didn't work. And them dropping in the music just kind of ruined the movie. But the basics of the story and the characters and all that kind of night, and meeting Taka, and meeting a younger Mufasa, and meeting Zazu, and meeting Rafiki, and meeting what's Mufasa's
The bird.
mate's name?
Oh.
Sabari?
Oh,
Sabari? Yeah.
I believe so.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so meeting all
Sarabi.
those
Sarabi.
Sarabi, that's what it is, Sarabi. So meeting all these characters was actually really kind of fun, and how they came to be in the Pride Lands, and the origin story of Pride Rock is in the movie too. So I mean, there's just some interesting things. It's a nice little movie. Not great, not something I'm going to rush back to the theater to see again. But you know what? Not bad. It's a nice little film. Here are some of the things that still didn't work for me though. I remember when I first found out that Scar in this movie, Scar and Mufasa weren't actually brothers. That's kind of retconning the original Lion King. And as the movie went on, but I'm like, okay, let me see how they do it. And they never crossed the bridge for me. It never felt right about that they're not actually brothers. And by the time you get to the end of Mufasa the Lion King, you're like, no way Scar's still around. No way Scar's still around years later by the time we get to the story of the original Lion King. Like, not a chance. But also specific lines, Chris, in the original Lion King. Like, you know, are you challenging me? Oh, no, when it comes to brute strength with you, but when it comes to brute, like, I got the lion's share of the brains, but when it comes to brute strength, I got the shallow end of the gene pool. Like, specifically alluding that they are actually brothers.
Yeah.
And then even when Mufasa is complaining to Zazu about him, what am I going to do with him? I was like, every family's got him. Like, you know, yeah, but he's your brother. You know,
Yeah.
And again, with the ending of this movie, which I won't give away the whole totality of it, but you can kind of figure out Taka becomes Scar. By the end of it, I'm like, there's no way this dude is still around by the time the Lion King starts. It just doesn't. So the music hindered it. The retcons of the original story still don't sit well with me and whatever. But again, still, overall, it's a nice little film. Right now, it's got a 55% on Rotten Tomato. And I would figure it to be somewhere around 55 to 65%. Like, I can see that there are going to be some people that it just doesn't work for at all. But I'll say this. I don't give a crap what anybody else is telling you about, oh, the visuals are gorgeous. Fuck off with all this. Oh, no, this just didn't do good with the... Fuck you. The visuals in Mufasa are staggering.
I'll just leave.
Absolutely staggering. As somebody who has worked in the visual effects field, I'm sitting there looking at this kind of the same way I did with the 2019 Lion King, only it's even better. I'm like, I can't believe what I'm looking at is all animated. I was in just stunned awe and wonder about that. Like, I just could not believe the achievement of what it looks like visually. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And anybody who complains about it, I'll say, you point me to anything else ever created that is photorealistic that looks nearly as good as this. Nothing exists.
I hear it looks like a CW show.
So,
Well, that's only when they put the lions in leather jackets. Yeah.
yeah, but it's the movie's not great. It's not great, but it's nice. It's nice. I think
Okay.
it's totally watchable.
Is it worth going to if you are not somebody who has a list or, you know, Regal Movie Pass or anything?
Because currently I have a reservation for Sunday. So
Yeah.
Here's what I would say. I'm going to bring this up. If you are somebody who enjoyed the 2019 Lion King,
didn't see
which,
that
according to this, I mean, I really liked it a lot. Not as good as the original, but I really liked the 2019 Lion King. And 88% of the audience who went to go see The Lion King in 2019. 88% of the audience liked it. Only 51% of the critics, so it was split. I would say if you are one of those 88% and you enjoyed the 2019 Lion King, I think there's enough here that there's a decent chance you're going to enjoy this.
Okay.
So I would say, yeah, go see it, but temper your expectations.
Okay.
Was it a mistake to release it so close to Kraven the Hunter?
I'm so over lions. I'm so over. I can't go to see another lion.
Oh my God.
I mean, those $4 million of people that went to go see Kraven this weekend could have really make an impact. But yeah, you know, the standout for me, I will say in Mufasa, was Rafiki. Rafiki's the standout character for me. I really, really liked Rafiki in it.
So if you could say your most favorite thing of the film, what you think people should actually go for and appreciate, was it the visual?
It was, yeah. If you're asking me, but my background, I'm looking for different things. But for me, the best thing about the movie was absolutely the visuals. Unfortunately, with Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I'm a huge fan of, the weakest part of the movie for me was the music.
Okay.
And then everything else in it was pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. So I was really hoping I would love this movie. I don't, but I think it's worth checking out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see Mufasa, the Lion King? If so, what did you think of it? Are you planning on seeing it if you haven't yet? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got a couple things to talk about here, including that other movie that came out, Sonic 3. We're going to talk about our thoughts on that. And with the Superman trailer coming out, by the way, I cannot wait to see what the view numbers are, because everybody was talking about this trailer yesterday in a way that I can't remember happening for a trailer in a long time. But it's also given birth to a lot of theories. We're going to talk about some of the best theories about the Superman movie based on the trailer. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at The Perfect Gene. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, The Perfect Gene. All right, let's get real for a second. Khakis, stiff, uncomfortable, and a crime against humanity. That's why I am obsessed with The Perfect Gene. I'm wearing them right now, and let me tell you, they've changed the game. They have full stretch, no resistance, whether I'm sitting for hours, indulging in holiday feasts, or running errands, these jeans move with me. And the best part, I don't feel like I'm in a denim prison. They're stretchy, soft, and crazy comfortable. And these aren't just comfy lounge pants. They look sharp enough for dinner parties and family photos, and with 6 fits, waist sizes up to 50, and lengths up to 38, the Perfect Gene fits everyone. From short kings to tall legends, over 5,000 combinations to get your perfect fit. So what are you waiting for? Stop crushing your balls in stiff, boring jeans. Head to theperfectgene.nyc and use the code Campea15 for 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, returns, and exchanges. That's right, risk-free, folks. Once again, that's theperfectgene.nyc, code Campea15. F your khakis and upgrade to the Perfect Gene. Trust me, your legs and everything else will thank you. And thank you to our friends at The Perfect Gene for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Sonic 3. Went to go see it yesterday. I was not expecting to like the first Sonic movie, and I adore the first 2 movies. I just have such fun with both of those movies. I think they're charming, they're sweet, and surprisingly really funny. And I've always been a big fan of James Marsden ever since the first X-Men movie, so I kind of like seeing him in that too, and all that kind of stuff. Now, to be honest, I didn't like the Knuckles series. I know there are those who do, and that's
It's
great.
me.
I wish I liked the Knuckles series, but I didn't, because I love the character. Love the character in those movies. So it was with great excitement we went off to go see Sonic 3 yesterday. Here are my thoughts overall, then I'll go into the good and the bad. It's quite good. It's my least favorite
Oh.
of the 3.
Oh, wow.
Least favorite of the 3, but still quite enjoyable. Still quite fun, and still quite entertaining. It's a winner.
Okay.
And me saying it's my least favorite of 3 is not a knock on this movie so much as it is, that's just how much I liked 1 and 2.
Right.
Like just 1 and 2. Like one of the 3 has to be our least favorite, right? One of them's got to be the least favorite. So,
Sure.
I mean, one of the original Star Wars trilogy has to be your least favorite, even though they're all 1A, and 1B. But so I really quite enjoyed it, but not quite as much as the first two. All right, let me talk about some of the things that I loved about this. Much like the other movies, Jim Carrey steals the movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Jim Carrey steals the movie in a way that is he upstages even himself from the previous films. It's just so good. Now, obviously, we get double the Robotnik in this because he's playing himself and what I thought was his father. It's his grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing himself and his own grandfather are in the shaggy flesh. And their dynamic, even though we're talking about the same actor playing the same role, but the dynamic of the two characters were fantastic. And, we're just talking about Mufasa and the visual effects. I'll say this too. I've never seen the visual effect that's been around a long time of having one actor playing two roles in the same scene and interacting with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's never looked more flawless and seamless.
Ooh,
Like
okay.
I kept watching for little signs of a visual effect, but these are two characters that were interacting and I'm just like, this looks so good. They
It's
made
better
it
than
look,
Parent Trap.
surprisingly enough.
Okay.
They did it flawlessly, and just once again, Jim Carrey steals the show, which really makes me thankful. Because remember, after Sonic 2, Jim Carrey said he was retiring.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And decided to come back for this, and I'm really glad he did, because I don't know what this movie would be without him. Because he's absolutely great in it. Keanu Reeves as the voice of Shadow was the perfect choice. It really was. I mean, I just thought it was a cool choice at first. Like, that's a great choice, Keanu Reeves. When you watch the movie, though, the personality of Shadow, Keanu Reeves' voice is just perfect for it. When we're done, there won't be anything left to rule. Well, that's dark. I mean, it was just, his voice was absolutely perfect for it, and it's great. I didn't think they did his backstory well, though.
Yeah, they could have.
Yeah, you agree with that part?
They could have did a little bit more where there was more impact.
Yeah, I was like, okay, something bad happened to him. Okay. But they never let us as the audience really feel it. And I thought that could have been done a little bit better, but let me stick with the good things for now. Let me stick with the good things for now. One of the best things about the Sonic movies is just the pure charm of the characters. And one of my favorite things about Sonic recently has been Knuckles. And the dynamic and the banter just between Knuckles, Tails. I'll be honest with you. Tails is kind of the Ringo Starr of Team Sonic.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry. It's just, not that I dislike Tails, and I'm not talking about the video games. I'm talking about this movie.
Sure.
Tails has a couple of good lines, but a little bit of the Ringo. But hey, without Ringo, there's no drums in the Beatles. So there you go. But the dynamic between the Team Sonic was really cute and really good. And I always loved James Marsden. So like all that was good. It's funny. Oh my God, the best part of the movie. All I'll say is there's a dance sequence.
And it's the best part.
The best part of the
I
movie.
hope so, because one of the reasons why part 2 is below part 1 for me was the dance off in that like restaurant.
Oh yeah, forget that.
I hated that.
Forget that.
It was so cringe.
Throw that away.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
nothing to
good,
worry
good.
about.
Okay.
There is a dance sequence involving Jim Carrey in this movie that I could sit down and watch on loop all day. It just brought so much joy. Like the three of us, me, Ann, and Ray, we were, especially Ann and I, were just laughing out loud.
It was so
That whole thing, again, establishing Jim Carrey is still king.
There was a pretty good crowd in there. I think every seat.
Oh, yeah,
was
well,
like,
it was a special fan event, right?
Yeah,
so
but
they
I
sold
like
that thing
seeing
out.
that.
Yeah.
I do like seeing that people.
And they
turned
gave
up.
away some pretty good
yeah.
Sonic swag.
I
at the
hate
fan
all
event,
of
too.
you who took all the Shadow keychains.
Yeah, they
I'm
had
just saying.
Tails, Sonic, and Shadow keychains, but only.
Oh, that's cool.
The only one that was done by the time we got there. We got there a little late,
Yeah,
to be
like
honest.
2-3 minutes.
All the Shadow keychains were gone,
know.
unfortunately. By the
What
time we
were
got
they?
there.
Just like little,
No,
like an
they're
image,
actually
or
better. They're actually better. They're like in balls, like soft.
Oh,
rubber,
nice.
soft
Oh,
rubber with their
yeah.
Yeah, they were
faces.
quality.
They're pretty big. I'm
Aw.
actually using mine. Well, it's in the car now.
On the
using it for?
on the negative side, Listen, the Sonic films, of course, you're having a film like this, there's going to be a degree of silliness. Silliness is not a good or a bad thing. Silliness is just a tool. It can be used well, it can be used badly. I found a little bit of Thor Love and Thunder in this one. Where, in Thor Ragnarok, Thor 3, perfect balance of the silly and the serious. A beautiful, perfect balance. Then when you got into Thor Love and Thunder, they went way too far in this way. I don't think it was nearly that extreme as Thor Love and Thunder was, but I felt the silliness got more silly.
Right.
Of course, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. There's going to be unbelievable things in it. Of course there are. There are in 1 and 2. But it's like, yeah, their plan to get in there, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like anyway, so they went a little bit, they
Too
leaned
far.
a little bit too far that way for me. But again, at the end of the day, I don't like the post-credit scene.
Oh, the last one I missed. I missed the final one.
Now the
'cause I had
last
to leave.
the last one's fine. The last one's fine, but the mid-credit scene,
Huh.
you know why?
Why?
Because it's just the exact same thing that they've done in the post-credit scenes in the last two.
Right.
It's
We
like,
see Shadow again?
but no,
Oh,
because
we
remember at
can't
the
spoil that.
first one, at the end of the first one, it's, oh, look, it's Tails. Then at the end of the second one, oh, look, it's Shadow. And then they should do the exact same thing in the third.
Oh,
look, it's so-and-so. It's like, it's just the same
Is
thing.
it? Blink
Same
twice,
thing.
Ray. Blink
Well, we
twice.
know there's going to be a part 4.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
There's going to be a part 4. So I was expecting actually something different in the post-credit scene, but there's just the same formula. It's just the exact same formula.
Oh, I'm so
It's
okay
like
with that.
the ending of Shadow or the ending of Sonic happens, and it's like, well, now I'm here. And then in part 2, well, now I'm here. And then in the end of part 3, well, now I'm here. So I was
the
kind of
gang's all
hoping for
here.
something a little bit
Sweet.
more fun, a little more exciting than just the same thing. But overall, the Sonic trilogy is a winner. And there's going to be a 4th one. That's official. I forgot to put it on our topics list today. My bad. But there is going to be a 4th one, and I will definitely be there opening day to see it because they did it again. They made a fun, entertaining, maybe not quite as good as 1 and 2, but a fun, entertaining, really good experience at the movie theaters. And if you just want to go in and smile and have your heart smile and laugh and have a good time, Sonic 3 is the movie for you, right?
Without spoiling anything, and I know were you surprised that the cheer in the middle when
I have no idea what
we
you're
saw
talking
that
about.
thing? Well, I was thinking you might have known what I'm talking about, but I don't
Are
want
you talking about the post-credit scene?
No, I'm talking about never mind. We'll just skip it. I think it's the best Sonic 3 movie.
You actually think it's the best one?
Yeah, the best one. I actually think
Of the
there's
3.
silliness and dialogue, and I agree that the Shadow backstory could have been more impactful. But then there's the other side of me that says, if it's too deep, the kids that are watching it might, there's kids watching this movie too. Like I don't
Yeah,
know
but
if they
look at
could
the
really.
look at the original animated Lion King.
Right.
With the death of Mufasa, children can handle this
All right,
stuff, and
all
it
right.
can be really good too, right?
But-
and I thought they had especially with Shadow's backstory, they had an opportunity to basically have their Simba Mufasa kind of emotional that has worked so well for kids. Those kids now have kids, and that's all they think about, how beautiful and powerful that was.
I
right?
agree.
They
They-
could have done that. They had that chance.
They had that chance to get more people on Shadow's side. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's where they missed right there. There's some music choices in 2 particular scenes where I thought were awful. What were they doing? Like they could have picked some better song for that, but that's all up to interpretation. Jim Carrey, I just love that he looked like he was having fun the whole time.
He looked like he was, and because it was a fan event that we were at, they showed like this 10-minute kind of behind the scenes video
Right.
before the movie started, and Jim Carrey was having a blast.
And he actually
doing this
cut
movie.
his real hair. That actor
Yes.
cut his real hair in that scene. Like he let him. He was telling him how to do it in the behind the scenes. I love this movie. I'll probably see it again. I think it's the best out of all of them. That's all I can say about it.
What would you say was your favorite element of it?
Without spoiling anything, I love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey.
Yeah, me
Obviously,
too. That's
because
yeah.
we don't have that many opportunities to see him, so I'm appreciating any time he gives us because he might not be on screen by choice in the future. So it's like Jim Carrey was the best part. He's
Yeah.
still kooky. He's still wild. He's still like funny to me.
And you know what? This one, I forget the name of his sidekick.
Right. I know.
I
who you're
forget.
talking about.
Do you remember the name of the sidekick guy?
The Persian,
The guy
it
who
looks like a
like helps
Persian
him
guy.
out.
Yeah.
Doctor.
He's featured a little bit more in this movie. He has a more important kind of,
I
a
have to
more
look on
prominent role in
IMDb.
this one than the other ones. I really liked him.
His
in this.
angle is great.
Yes, it is.
The way
Yeah,
they're
I really
shaping
liked
it,
it.
the way they're shaping him, he's gonna become a prominent person in this. I believe.
Agent Stone. Thank you,
Agent
chat.
Stone. I like. Don't get me wrong. He's not like got 40 minutes of screen time or anything,
No,
but I
no.
mean, he's definitely more prominent in this
Yeah,
film,
you can see where they're going.
and he has
with
a
it.
little bit more of a upfront kind of role. And
Christine Ritter was in
yeah.
there.
oh yeah, what's Jessica Jones
Yeah.
is in it. Totally
Yeah.
wasted.
Yeah,
Oh.
totally
Did-
wasted. A little
Didn't
bit
like her in it. Didn't like the character. Didn't fit
That's
well.
a shame.
I really like her. She's great.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough.
I don't think they gave her any direction because whenever she was on screen, it felt kind of awkward. I think
Oh.
they just said, "Oh, you're Kristen Ritter. You're great. Just go."
Mm.
Okay. And so that whatever that didn't really work out for me so well.
They call it the Fast and the Furious for kids. Someone said that. I forgot what article. And I
That's
got
not
it.
a bad. That's not a bad
pretty cute.
comparison.
It's going to be the Fast and the Furious for kids. They're going to keep pumping these out, and they're going to keep adding more characters, and that's what Fast and the Furious does.
And family.
But yeah, at the end of the day, guys, for me, it's a win.
Yeah.
And you know, out of the two movies, I mean, they're totally night and day different movies. But if you had a choice to go see either Mufasa, which I think is pretty good, or Sonic this weekend, I say go see Sonic.
Yay.
Just a good, ridiculous fun. I will say this though, if you are one of the people, because let's face it, the Sonic movies don't have the highest ratings, but if you're one of the people who didn't like Sonic 1 and 2,
Right.
oh yeah, you're not going to like 3
Yeah,
either.
don't.
Yeah,
Just
you're not going to like 3. If you do like Sonic 1 and 2, I feel very confident that you will like Sonic 3.
Okay.
Whether you like it as much or not, regardless, I think you will like it. I think it's a fun time at the movie theaters. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about Sonic 3? Did you have a chance to go and see it yesterday? If so, what did you think? If not, is it high on your priority list? I think you should go see it. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's go on and talk about this, shall we? You know, the Superman trailer dropped yesterday, and I'll just say it's perfect. It's a perfect first trailer. I couldn't believe all the incredible right choices they make. Start the trailer by showing Superman beaten and bloodied, because one of the big problems with trying to tell a Superman story, we talk about this all the time, is the guy's basically a god. How can you tell an interesting story? Boom, start off with him dying in the snow. The whole criticisms about Superman wouldn't let, city destruction happen in his fights. Boom, city destruction on that. And him feeling and maybe getting hated on by people as a result of it or as a cause of it. Quick little glimpses, tones of the John Williams Superman score with electric guitar. I mean, it just, for a first trailer that's not supposed to give us really anything yet, just give us a taste, I thought it was straight up perfect. I don't know how you could have made that any better. And even I, Chris, who hated on the crypto, the idea of bringing in crypto, I thought that's a bridge too far. Don't do crypto. And it won me over.
He's perfect.
Totally won me over. I'm like, yep, now I can't wait to see this dog. Now I want it. So it did all those things right. But here's the thing. Now that the trailer has happened and it's out, it's part of the world now, it has spawned a lot of theories about what concepts, what can we glean about the Superman movie and things that might happen in the Superman movie as a result of what we've just seen in the trailer. And there have been many theories. I have a couple I want to share, and then I want to go over and read some of the comments that our viewers and theories that our viewers have shared that actually I quite like. So the first one that I want to mention is the robot. It is I think most people agree that is probably Kellex.
Oh yeah, That's
or
my
a
thought, too.
version of Kellex.
sure.
Probably a robot that Kal-El grew up with, has had his entire life, maybe even the mouthpiece for the consciousness of Jor-El and his mother and all that kind of stuff.
I see. Okay.
And in a lot of iterations, Kellex is basically also the caretaker of the Fortress of Solitude. and probably someone that Superman has had with him his whole life. And again, this image that they have of him, when I was like, at first you're like, why is he crying over a robot? It's probably a robot he's had his whole life.
It's probably his last connection to Krypton.
And yeah, that's such a good point, Chris. It's probably his last kind of tangible connection to
Thanks, Ray.
Krypton. I love that.
What do you have, empathy or something?
Sometimes. Traffic wasn't bad today. I'm nice today.
So the big theory, and the robot's also torn apart. So at some point, somebody gets into the
Robot.
Fortress of Solitude and does damage, right? So think that's probably Kellex. The other big theory I have, I kind of mentioned yesterday, but just let me sum it up here. The monster attacking Metropolis. I believe everything that we saw in this trailer, this is my theory. I think everything we saw in the trailer was all in the first 40 minutes of the movie. I really do. I think it's all in the first act of the movie. Maybe even a lot of it in the first 10 minutes. But my thought is that the monster attacks Metropolis and you see all the heroes trying to take it down. Then we see that shot of like even the buildings falling over like dominoes. And then we see, even though in the trailer people are chanting, Superman, Superman, there's one part of the trailer where everybody is really mad at him. Mm-hmm. And I think it has to do with this monster fight. And my theory is that this is kind of James Gunn doing his commentary on a lot of people's reactions to Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. Like everybody criticized, wow, Superman shouldn't have let all that damage happen. And James Gunn is like, hey, folks, if some universal threat is attacking the city, guess what? I don't care if you are Superman. Some damage is going to happen, folks. I actually see this as James Gunn having Zack Snyder's back a little bit. But so, and I think that then the people throwing the can at him are because he was clearly all battle scarred. Listen, in that shot that Jonathan just had up, you know, he's getting blasted with all that fire. And then when we see Superman walking to spawn and getting a can thrown at his head, it looks like he's got some scorch marks on his thing. So it's probably right after that, people probably mad at him for letting damage happen, whatever. And they see Guy Gardner coming in and putting up the Green Lantern shades on the stuff. So, and I think part of that is also going to be Lex Luthor. Look at that suit. Like that's been torched. It's been charred. Yeah, it's been charred. And I think also Lex Luthor is going to try to stoke that, you know, like, yeah, Superman's this bad thing and all that kind of stuff. My third theory is Ultraman. Of course, we first got our first glimpse of Ultraman in a set photo that got leaked out when you had Rick Flag Sr. and a bunch of soldiers and Ultraman. They're kind of arresting Superman. Well, then we got a shot of him in the trailer. And there were some people out there, I saw some YouTube channels talking about, oh, they thought that was Mr. Terrific. Totally, that was fighting Superman in the baseball field. Mm-hmm. Totally understandable why you'd think that, because you get that shot of Mr. Terrific in a black outfit. So kind of like, so that was totally understandable. There's the shot, the behind the scenes shot, and there's Frank Grillo there as well.
That's Black Noir, and you can't tell me otherwise.
It's black, straight up, it's Black Noir.
This is the crossover I've been waiting for.
But here's the thing with this picture, there's actually a very tight Black Noir kind of connection. Because remember, in the Boys' original comic books, Black Noir was actually a Homelander clone. It turned in. They obviously didn't do that in the show, but in the comic books, when they took the mask off, you found out Black Noir was actually Homelander's clone. Ultraman is another version in the comic books. Is another version of Superman from another universe. Only he's bad. He's a, what do they call them? The crime syndicate or something?
So.
Oh, it's just the Syndicate, right?
Or just the Syndicate, something like that. He comes from a world where the Justice League is bad. Now, I don't think that's what they're going. I don't think they're going to say that Ultraman here is a Superman from another dimension. But maybe, here's my theory. Going back to Superman and the Quest for Peace, when Lex Luthor sent a strand of Superman's hair into the sun and created Nuclear Man.
Oh, yeah, the Sentry.
What? Yeah, basically the Sentry. What if this Ultraman is actually a genetic experiment that Lex Luthor did to try to clone? Maybe he got a drop of Superman's blood from one of his big battles.
Kind of like the Superboy stuff in Young Justice.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And therein lies a bit of the connection to Black Noir.
What if
they're kind of doing a Black Noir thing? Because this Ultraman, again, the shot in the trailer, he's fighting Superman. And I'm sorry, Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl can't fight Superman. Somebody's fighting him. And so maybe he's kind of connected that way. So those are some of my theories. I want to read a couple of the others that some people sent in. This one's interesting, from the Ponderer, who said, this is a long shot. It would be cool. I doubt it'll happen, but it's my theory. It makes me wonder if the movie is going to be told in vignettes, kind of like Sin City was.
Oh.
Right? A section of the movie dedicated to Superman and Lois, a section of the movie dedicated to Superman and Lex, a section of the movie to Superman and Krypto, a section of the movie for Superman and other heroes. Maybe it's being told in the story vignettes. I agree that I don't think that's going to happen, but that is a very interesting theory. I kind of like that
Very
theory.
Superman for all seasons.
Yes, so I thought I'd mention that one.
Yeah.
This other one came from Dalton, who write, I like this. My theory for why people are mad at Superman is because he left Metropolis to save the kid with the flag, and something bad happened in Metropolis while he was gone. That's an interesting theory. He literally went off, and maybe when that monster's attacking and all the damage happened before Superman got there, that, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific are trying to fight this monster. They're doing the best they can, but all this damage is happening. And then Superman shows up late because he was off helping people in a different country. And maybe they're mad at him for that and hold him. That's an interesting theory. I like that
really
theory.
Good.
But
Here,
that means he's very slow.
He's slow?
Slow, meaning he can't get to both places. Like in my mind, Superman could go and take care of things.
Yes, but even Superman getting to the other
Right.
side of the world and
battling.
taking care of whatever he's taking
Right.
care of on that side of the world, even if it's a matter of 30 seconds. That monster could have knocked those buildings over in
Right.
10, 15, 30 seconds, right?
That's just a really interesting talking point too, in
Right.
general, of what is your responsibility? Whom is your responsibility?
Who's your
to?
priority?
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
if we just look, at global politics as a whole anyway, it's when do we interfere? When do we not? When do we work
Yeah.
on our own home soil? When do we go over there? That's a really interesting one.
Yeah, so that's why I like that idea at all, because it's very relevant to discussions we have in our real world
And
today.
also, yeah, in your own life, sometimes you're overwhelmed by a lot of things. Which one you want to tackle first? It's
Exactly.
All right. Then this is another, it kind of contradicts my theory a bit, but I like it a lot. This comes to us from from Redhead, who writes, if I had to guess, I don't believe Superman is going to be blamed for the destruction the monster caused alone. I think we'll see other superheroes trying to kill the monster, Superman attempt to stop them from killing it, and that might cause those buildings to drop, and now Superman is being blamed for protecting the monster that destroyed part of their city. The reason I like that theory, even though it contradicts my own theory, is because when Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion, is walking into the building to see Superman, it doesn't look like he's coming in to comfort him. He looks mad. And maybe this theory that, the three other heroes had this plan to just kill the monster, and Superman's like, no, there's a way to stop it without killing it, because Superman doesn't kill. And that caused a delay in stopping him, and that caused the damage being knocked over. And maybe it's not so much that the people are blaming Superman for the damage just because they couldn't help it, but it's because, hey, you could have just cut off this thing's head and we'd still have these 10 buildings. And that's a theory that I really like too. Last one I want to read here came from our viewer, me named Jeff, writes, I think Ultraman and Bizarro in this universe will be melded into one. Maybe at one point Ultraman's mask is removed and it's really messed up, looking like a clone of Clark underneath. Which again, if Ultraman in this universe is like a genetic thing of LexCorp, which we have no reason to believe it is, but just theorizing, that could go on there as well. So those are some of the theories that you guys sent in to me that I really like. Chris, do you have any theories or any of these theories standing out to you?
I like a lot of these, but okay, that last image takes place based on the cut of the trailer. I could be wrong, but based on the cut of the trailer, it looks like that last whole situation takes place inside of Stag Industries. Simon Stagg, of course, being another antagonist in the
You mean when Superman walks in from getting his head hit
Yes,
with the
we
can?
see a little
Oh yeah,
stag
we did a freeze frame of that. We see Stagg Industries, who
Yeah.
of course Simon Stagg, as we mentioned yesterday, is an antagonist of Metamorpho.
who he's responsible essentially for creating
You're right.
Metamorpho. And so I feel like we're going to have a kind of Metamorpho origin story popped in here, because that is a character that I think for your regular audience you do need to explain. I mean, his body is rubbery, he can turn into liquids or gases or solidify himself like rock. Like, he's a bananagrams
Can you
character.
become a giant
You
fart?
can even
He
see his
can become
reflection, I think,
huge.
if
Yeah.
that's him in the prison.
Yeah,
thing.
we have that real nice close up of Metamorpho's face in this, played
So
by
he can
Anthony
become a
Carradine.
fart in the wind.
He can become a fart in the
Wow.
wind.
Literally.
He can literally do this.
Yeah,
He can be
nice.
silent and deadly, Jonathan. It's
Oh!
huge for them. But I feel like maybe that scene with all of the other heroes coming in here is more
Yeah.
of a, this guy doesn't know how to control his powers. This guy needs to be dealt with. And dealing with that situation there. I could be wrong.
So philosophically, a little bit of a reverse Kingdom Come.
A little bit.
Oh, that would be interesting.
What is there out of the ballpark? Like
Way out
probably
in
that-
left field.
Mine still is when Hawk Girl's coming in. I think they edited something out from behind her. Maybe the
Oh.
Justice League Watchtower. That's what I'm
That'd be
hoping
cool.
for.
I would love the
like a
Watchtower.
silhouette in the sky, like she's coming from. Because she's coming down from something. Like maybe even just killing that big monster. She's
Yeah.
coming down from doing something, I believe.
Or
she
she
just doesn't come out of
dive-bombing.
nowhere.
Because like that's what hawks do, right?
Right,
They get hype and then they dive bomb.
Yeah.
Come on, just let me have my fantasy
I would
of
You
love
know
I
what?
like
It's Justice
the
League.
Justice League.
Here's
Right.
my way out there theory, okay? Remember, I am saying this is a way out there theory.
It's
Gonna be good.
confirmed.
This better
I'm-
be good.
Totally tiny chance of it actually happening.
I'm going to the trades with this. Variety's going to post this, so
Gus
It
is gas.
involves nipples. No.
Oh wow.
Here it is. Here it is. Way out there theory. A little bit of a Twilight Zone twist. There are iterations of Brainiac where he literally takes cities and civilizations, shrinks them down and puts them in little bottles where everybody's still in there, whatever. They find out Metropolis has actually been in one of Brainiac's bottled cities. And for whatever reason, when they got put in there, they forgot. And that they're actually in this little thing, and that Brainiac becomes a part of the film.
God.
Again,
Ooh.
I'm not saying that's going to happen. You asked me for my way out
Yeah,
there
I'm-
theory. That's my way out there
but
theory.
but you know what works about that is they're setting up that Thanos, right? Like Brainiac's like the big baddie, like for future. If it goes that way, I
Yeah.
just love that fact that
Darkseid.
there's someone behind the
yeah, the
scenes.
big bag's got to be dark
They're
side.
the bigger
Darkseid's the way to
picture.
go.
But maybe he's the first big picture.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
My other one, and this isn't a way out there theory, this is just based on some comic books and having Crypto in here. Another reason why people could be mad at Superman is because in the comics, Crypto, again, cannot control his powers very well. He's a puppy, he's a dog.
Right.
And he, when trying to save people and intervene, causes mass destruction. And there is a specific episode, essentially, where Superman is also dealing with magical powers, which is not his forte. He does not deal with magic well. And Crypto has to come in and save the day and save Metropolis. And that gets the people of Metropolis on this dog's side.
But do you think they'd actually let Crypto be that centric to the movie?
I don't think they'd let him be centric, but I think we can also have a couple moments of like, get your shit together, man. You've
But-
got this crazy rabid dog. You have this dude running
I
around
swear.
town. Your team hates you. Like, what's going on? I think
I
it's going to
think-
be a death of a
If
I
someone
think-
throws something at Crypto, I'm leaving.
no, it's
That's
going to be
all
a
I'm
John Wick. Someone's going to go to like shoot it,
But nothing can happen.
but
to
it's going to
Crypto.
bounce
Still,
off,
It's just the
and then the
nose
guy's
hit.
going to go flying.
But I did want to. We talked about this yesterday. I want to get your theory on this. So
Oh, sure.
there are the comic books have different origins for Crypto. Some he shows up on Earth after Clark. Some he was in the capsule with Clark. Like
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Just a little baby with a little puppy.
I that's my theory. My theory is they're going to show that Clark showed up on Earth, or just say reference or quick flashback that Clark showed up on Earth with Crypto in there with him, rather than a time variance thing where Crypto went in. The way it's described in one major comic book outlet is that Crypto was shot into space as like a monkey being launched into space as a test. But then later, Clark gets launched, but because of space time, Clark gets to Earth years before Crypto gets there, and then Crypto gets there. I think he shows up with him. I don't
I like
think
that.
Clark discovers him later.
Doesn't
How do you
Crypt-
think Crypto gets
sorry.
there?
Oh. I it is on par with like kind of how Kara gets trapped in like the Phantom Zone, and that's why she's so late, even though she was older
Yeah.
than Clark and blah 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 blah. So I think you can get away with those things. My only issue is then, I mean, I know he's a super puppy, but how old is Crypto if he's been with Clark this whole time since he was a baby?
And how do remember this is hard. Crypto is not a dog.
Yeah.
Crypto is an alien species that may look like a dog.
Superman looks
Kinda
like
act
a
like a
man,
dog.
so
Am I imagining?
So who knows how they age?
Yeah. Biggest theory? He's the goodest boy.
Doesn't
the goodest
Crypto
boy.
like just roam around like Fortress and just guards that? Am I tripping, or did I see that in an animated comic where he's just sitting right there?
Sometimes he's just hanging out.
Or
doing that,
animated
He's
and
hanging out as a house
and
dog.
Other
Yeah.
times he's on Kent Farm, living his
okay.
best life. He goes to a farm for real, not like what they do with all other dogs.
Yeah, we took your dog to a farm. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that Brainiac thing. It's
That's fun.
I think that could be a reveal down the line, but I think the main villain of this movie is Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah. And the main, what is his hammer though? Because obviously Lex Luthor's not fighting Superman. So what's his weapon? Is it Ultraman? Is it something else?
I think it's
And what's
manipulation.
a cameo?
I think so
they
too.
won't show.
Especially since the Authority is who we're
How,
dealing with.
if something they don't show it, then it's not a cameo.
I mean, no, like in the trailer, a cameo that of some a hero maybe James Gunn might.
Oh yeah. Well, I think
Who do you think will show up?
I
Who else?
honestly think I do. Somebody brought this up the other day, and I wasn't quite on board with it. But the more I think about it, I think I am. I think we get our first look at Batman. I don't think he's going to play an important part of the film. I don't think he's going to be in much of the film. But I think we get at least a look at Batman. And so that would mean they've already got him cast, which I wouldn't doubt whatsoever. Remember, by the time they announced Ben Affleck was Batman, we found out years later, Ben Affleck acknowledged, oh yeah, I literally signed the deal 6.5 months before we made the announcement.
Yeah.
So he was Batman for 6.5 months before anybody in the world knew. I am, again, a quick phone call, like, okay, I don't know how we find this out, but I know somebody who might. And a quick conversation with Batman, Bruce Wayne, whatever. So I'm thinking that will be one cameo in the movie.
I think the only thing we're gonna see is gonna be like Wayne Industries cameo, like a, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that part's easy,
I
right?
would-
I would love if we do a sort of death of the Justice League moment of all we see is a gloved hand with those little bat spikies closing up a box that's got kryptonite in it. I want to just have
That for the
Batman
post credit.
as a post credit.
That's-
Batman already making his plans in case these super folks get too powerful, especially in light of
Or
the
turn
damage that's
bad
happened.
or get
I
taken
bet-
over. Yeah.
I would bet all my money that Batman is the post credit scene.
It's not a bad theory.
I
because-
would bet all your money too.
I mean,
I will bet
no. Imagine how many people would just go back and watch the movie just to see that scene again, like in a theater. Like, I mean, it's crazy. I can't wait for this movie. It's so far away, so far away.
It's still so far away. Guys, question is for you. What are some of your theories that maybe you have about this Superman movie that the trailer has elicited from you? Whatever you guys think. I mean, hey, listen, fire some into the super chats if you want us to discuss your theory. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your thoughts, theories, opinions, questions, and topics. But before we do, we're going to take another quick moment here and thank another sponsor of today's episode, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Guys, we all know November's all about gratitude. And along with those we appreciate, let's not forget to thank ourselves. In a world as busy as ours, just making it through each day can be an accomplishment. One important way to show yourself some appreciation is by investing in your mental health. And that's where therapy can really make a difference. Therapy isn't just for those in crisis. It's for anyone wanting to learn better coping skills, set healthy boundaries, and work towards being their best selves. You often heard me talk about that it's great that we prioritize our physical health, but it's time that we also prioritize our mental health. Let's start encouraging ourselves and others to take steps to improve our mental health as well. So if you've ever thought about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, super flexible, and fits right into your schedule. You just fill out a quick questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can even switch therapists anytime at no extra charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Campea today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. By the way, I just want to shout out Abe Draves in the live chat has a theory. He says, I think Jason Momoa as Lobo shows up in the post-credit scenes. That's actually not a bad theory. That's got some stuff to substantiate it. So that's an interesting thought. Anyway, all right, guys, let's get over to your questions, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
First up, we got Big Bang says, would you prefer a new Rey trilogy rebuilding the Jedi Order or a grown-up Grogu trilogy as Jedi Grandmaster uniting the Jedi and Mandalorians?
Neither. I'm
knew
just
it.
being honest, neither.
I knew it.
But if I had to pick one, the Rey. Listen, I like the Rey character. Don't get me wrong. I like the Rey character. I do. I just think the way they handled the sequel trilogy really divided the audience over, and I think it's just a mistake. And it's not the Rey character's fault. It's just, or Daisy Ridley's fault at all. It's just that's, if you're going to try to reunify the Star Wars fandom the way kind of The Mandalorian did when it first came out, doing movies about Rey isn't the way to do it. And I'm saying this as somebody who likes the character. Doing that is not the good idea. But if I had to pick one of the two, I'll take the Rey one. All right, what's next?
TJ Perry says, Gunn says Cornsweat changed his mind on the trunks. He himself was against them till DC said, Superman dresses like a pro wrestler to make people unafraid of him since he's an alien with godlike powers. The trunks reflect that positivity and hopefulness.
Underwear over your pants in no fucking way represents hope.
Dude, if you're having a bad...
That does not represent hopefulness.
No, if you're having a bad day, try it out. It works. I'm telling you.
And again,
actually,
somebody said this or wrote that in the other day.
Yeah.
But the response to that is, if I see a guy walking down the street with red underwear over his jeans, it doesn't make me feel more secure. It doesn't make me feel more comfortable with that person. It makes me feel like I want to grab my dog and walk to the other side of the street. So anyway, that's just my kind of response to that. All right, what's next?
Just make sure there's no brown.
You know what? I want to feel more hopeful. I can put my underwear over my pants.
What's that brown thing?
I want to
Goes
inspire
hard.
people.
All right.
next? Behind
Andrew
it.
says, he didn't like it. Andrew says, disgusted by the Superman trailer. Sets, costumes, and cinematography are ugly. Clark's curly hair is cringe. The high collar and boxer trunks are bad. Lois is unattractive, and Pa Kent looks like a serial killer. Serial killer.
Now just fuck this guy. This saying Rachel Brosnan is unattractive. Just now you're just obviously trolling. Let's move on. Let's
Also,
not even
your name
address
is
it.
Alpha? Okay.
Move on. Yeah.
Let's see. Dookie says, hey guys, I totally agree that T'Challa should have been recast, but I think doing it in Black Panther 2 was the wrong time. I do believe T'Challa Jr. will be our new Black Panther going forward, and we'll grow with him. Last Tom Holland and even get the Storm romance.
Well, Tom
There'd have to
Holland
be a
was
time jump.
already is already a full grown person. It's like you're literally gonna have to jump forward like 15 years for that. Yeah, absolutely 100%. The time to recast T'Challa was Black Panther 2. Because that way T'Challa is still here. T'Challa, listen, Black Panther isn't the important character. T'Challa is the important character. T'Challa was our Black Panther. John, yeah, and Wakanda, Black Panther is the title. I know, but the story was about T'Challa. The Chadwick Boseman created and breathed life into the character of T'Challa. The character of T'Challa is who we got attached to in Civil War and in Black Panther. And with the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman, you carry on the legacy that he created by carrying on the character. That was the time to replace him. They may indeed have a plan for young T'Challa. That's why they gave him the same name, so they could still call him T'Challa. It was a terrible compromise. Might be it, but again, that's a little child. I mean, we're going to be waiting 10, 15 years. Tom Holland was not a little child when they started him. So, look, we'll see where they go with it. As long as Shuri isn't Black Panther again, and I love the Shuri character, I just don't, her being Black Panther is a terrible choice. Then, we'll see what they do. Look, all I know is this. Ryan Coogler's one of the best directors in the world right now, and I got all the faith in the world in him. I'm sure he'll figure it out. All right, what's next?
We got Old Man Rook says, in 57 years, I've seen so many Superman iterations. A new one makes me say, gee, another Superman. Gunn has my attention. There is enough familiarity mixed with some new. Love the trailer, 732 million, and I'm not usually a DC guy. So he thinks the box office is 732 million.
Here's the big thing. Ray spent most of his day going through and watching Superman trailer reactions. I have done a lot of looking around. if there's one demographic you can clearly say this trailer absolutely won over, it's the average movie going audience. I'd say it would be in the high 90% of the average movie going audience. And that's who they really got to go after and get. So we'll see. We'll see. I agree with you. Like, I had some worry going into it. I had some skepticism. I mean, I believe in James Gunn, all that kind of stuff, but James Gunn's not making the trailer. And so, but it really, oh my God, I just love that trailer so much.
There's two reactions that give me maybe this is going to make a lot more money than we think. As there's two reactions I ran into where their channel is not about reactions, but they love the character and they were looking forward to this movie. These are old guys, and they put themselves on camera. They're never on camera, and they say, "I have to do a reaction. This is me. This is my childhood," and that just there's some sense that this is going to make more money than maybe we all think in this room. I still peg it at 800 million. That's where I see the ceiling.
Ooh.
But
What really threw me is how many people I saw crying watching the
Yeah.
trailer. Like, there were so many videos came around of people crying
I
watching
just
this
love
trailer.
that people still love this symbol.
Oh, yeah,
this
Superman
character.
is Superman,
After all the
dude.
years of the way our world is changing,
Yeah.
that people still find the hope, I guess it sounds corny, in
No,
this
that's really
character.
well put, Ray. That's
All right.
beautiful.
What's next?
Chewbacca says,
Go ahead.
oh, Chewbacca says, John, I'm skeptical about crypto. The trailer didn't move me on it. Curious what in the trailer made you shift on crypto. Why it works for you now. Also, surprise soups never smiled. If the theme is hope and lighter soups feel odd to not have about that, no? So what do you guys think? I mean,
About why we like crypto now? What push the needle? I mean, okay.
well, I think at first that one shot is just like, I mean, the shot we saw on the moon, it looks like it's on a stage in a theater, but it's supposed to look like that.
Exactly.
That was just
That's
like a
still great. It's
photographer's
beautiful.
like take on something.
Yeah.
But like now you see it in the film, it's a little different. Even for like Guardians of the Galaxy, what is the dog's name with the Russian accent? Why can't I think of her name?
Cosmo.
Yeah, Cosmo. So like if we just saw like some picture of Cosmo, like on a stage set, you'd think, well, that looks cheesy. But then you see Cosmo in like action and it's different.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think seeing there's something just so pure and hopeful about seeing a dog rescuing their master. There's just that there is something that we all intrinsically go, oh yeah, that's amazing, that's wonderful, that's man's best friend.
By the way, I forgot to mention.
No, you guys, come on, please.
So do you sum it up?
Yeah, it's
Okay, so don't still see it. So put it to Ray shot for a second.
Ray shot.
Yeah. Okay. So, that's not the page.
No, but it was an ad.
Okay.
Permanente ad.
So anyway, so somebody, like a few people were writing in, what's on Ray's screen? And then I looked, and it kind of looked like Ray had porn on his screen, right? And so I had to get up and run over and go, Ray, what do you got?
What is he mad at?
And it's like an ad for like
A Kaiser Permanente.
Yeah, for Kaiser. It was a Kaiser Permanente ad, but I'm like, oh my God, the blurriness of the camera,
Yeah.
like it kind of looked like Ray had porn on
If you
his
guys don't
screen.
know, like
No, it's just wicked.com. It's fine.
while the show's
That's
going,
what I thought it was. When I looked at it, I thought, is that
No.
wicked.com?
I do that, during the show, but not on screen. But no, if you guys don't know, I do all the post work write ups for the segments, and I'm looking up the 007 story just to put in keywords. That's all that happened. An
Yeah,
ad.
so I'm like, I walk over there, go, what you got on your screen? Oh, it's just like some
Yeah.
simple little ad. I'm like,
Come
oh,
on,
that's
I'm
what
not
that is.
I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
To be fair, the keyword was 007 porn, but yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. What's next?
The Superman trailer's crypto moments deeply moved me. My 18-year-old dog, my best friend, now needs my care as an elderly years.
Oh.
Brutally tough transition. Seeing crypto reminded me of the vibrant younger days, and it hit me so hard emotionally.
Yes.
Exactly.
People are dog people, understand.
Listen, first of all, thank you to our incredible audience who watches the show. I got so many DMs of people being like, that dog is your dog. Are you okay? Did you do okay during watching this trailer? Because Gimli
Aw.
looks so much like Crypto.
Yeah.
If Gimli had gotten to grow to be a full-size dog instead of being neutered when he was so young and in a shelter, he'd be a bigger boy. And Oh, my dog's gonna be 15 this year.
Oh, the
and he
eyes
is
of
the
that dog too.
greatest
looking at
happy
Clark.
boy. Oh, he's
Yeah.
so gorgeous in this trailer. I love him.
All right, what's next?
All right, we got Darth Burnett who says, I also love the Superman trailer. Do you think they will show Millie Alcock or the engineer in a trailer at some point? Also with Rick Flag Sr., I think he meant to say in this movie. Do you think we could get another member of Creature Commandos in Superman?
Possibly. I mean, listen, in every movie, you will have dozens of every movie will have, or at least the vast majority of them, you have dozens of background characters. So I could totally see that happening. We already know Millie Alcock is in the movie. I didn't notice a shot of her in the trailer, but I expect at some point she will be in the trailer. Again, I don't expect her to play a major role in the film. She'll be one of the background characters. But, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we got one or two more looks at, especially since Rick Flag shows up. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's got at least one other member of the Creature Commandos with him.
And the best thing about James Gunn is no characters off limits. That's what I loved with them.
Yeah.
No characters off limits.
All right, what's next?
I skipped Christian by accident. I hated the Superman trailer because it got me from being interested in this movie to being excited about it. Damn it, I want to keep my expectations in check, but this trailer was so great that I'm slightly mad over how excited I am. Much love. There's a lot of people saying, like, I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, listen, I was saying that myself, right? Like the problem with it, and this is a good problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless, is that it's the movies you're most excited about that give you your biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
And I am now kind of at that point where, because how many, like, especially in the last like year or two, how many movies I was so excited about that I walked out feeling, oh, that was trash.
Craven.
I had belief in Craven. And so, yeah, I kind of feel that way too about it. It's like, oh, damn it. Now, I'm really freaking, I mean, I was already excited for Superman. It's James Gunn, but now I'm really excited for it, which only can set me up for disappointment. So we'll see. All right, what's next?
We got Dave. Yes, Dave's, who says, John, do you think regular audiences are going to go for the Anton Chigurh's flamboyant cousin, Guy Gardner, in Superman? His hair just looks too goofy to me. I'm laughing at this trailer.
It's
I
comic
think
accurate.
It's comic book accurate.
And I think
and people love Guy Gardner in the comics.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be like the comic relief. I think that's the point of it.
Well, he's a
yes
hothead.
and no. Like because like Guy Gardner isn't like just a clown.
Sure.
Like, he's a badass.
He's a jerk.
He's a dick.
Right.
And again, that one shot of him when he's walking in, he's looking pissed.
Yep.
And yeah, I really do think if they do it comic well, I think people are going to like him.
Oh my God.
What are your thoughts?
Who is the football? Is he the coach or is he an owner of the team? And his hair is like straightforward like Guy Gardner. Someone did a side by side.
Oh, the LA Raiders owner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll try to find it for the show, but someone did it side by side.
Look it up.
Perfect.
It's the son of the former owner
Right,
too.
right,
Okay.
Richard.
Listen, this guy is a billionaire. The guy
Mark-
who owns
Mark-
Because he saved so much money doing
Mark
bowl cuts.
Davis.
he is a billionaire, and Mark Davis, somebody needs to tell him, dude, you can afford better hair. Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is bald, and he's got a great hair system, as Deadpool could. It's a foliage. It's a hair system. He has a great hair system. Mark Davis, you can afford this.
There's that. Someone did a side by
Yeah,
side, but
that's the owner of the LA Raiders.
but I can't find the side by side.
I think
But I'll just do this.
he's ahead of the.
There you go.
Dang.
Hey, oh my God.
Life imitates art.
That's how he moved the Raiders
My-
to Las Vegas.
My favorite thing I've seen is that clip from Ant-Man where it's so ugly. I love it.
Yeah.
But with a picture of him.
But a lot of people, like, I get it. Listen, Guy Gardner is not a name that average film goers know or understand. So you see that and you think, why does he have that hair? But that is comic accurate.
Yeah. And everybody
that is-
always wants comic book accurate until they get it.
Until it's
And then
a
they're
bowl
just like,
cut.
yeah.
All right. Can you bring up that picture of Mark Davis again?
Or you mean
I-
It
Guy
is a
Gardner.
different
There's another one of them. That
Yeah.
guy, and by the way, that's Tom Brady's partner now. Tom Brady's one of the owners.
Oh, here we go. There's that. That was the original one I had.
Dude, you can afford, give Elon Musk a call, find out the name of his guy, and get the hair system. You can afford it. You'll look great. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Okay. We got Big Al who says, I think Reacher's Alan Richardson should have been Superman. Soup should be the biggest guy in any room he walks into. Richardson with black hair and a form-fitting suit would be epic. Corn Sweat looks too actory to me, not real-life Superman.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You got to have an actor.
He's
I mean,
so tall.
Richardson
And he-
cannot play every role that's as a big guy. He doesn't have enough time in the
And
day.
by the way, no, by the way, guys, listen. Superman's strength does not come from his huge muscles.
Yeah.
He's a Kryptonian.
Otherwise, he'd have to
There's
be like
a
10
reason
feet tall.
why, like, Supergirl is on par with Superman's strength, and she doesn't have big muscles. Superman does not need to be. I mean, he's got to look great.
Yeah.
He's got to look great, but he does not need to look like the biggest guy in the room because his earthly strength does
Yeah.
not come from muscle fiber.
Right.
I love
Right?
the designs in Kingdom Come as much as anybody, but you can have variations on bodies when they are alien-powered individuals. And I would also much rather have, and this is no shade to Alan at all, but I want an excellent actor in the role, and I also need them to be believable as Clark Kent.
They have to have chemistry with the other
They have to have
actors.
chemistry with other
Yeah.
actors, and this is the first time too watching this trailer where I went, oh, I understand why people wouldn't know that that's Clark and Superman.
Right.
Yeah, and listen, I say this as a huge fan of Reacher and who's really excited to see where Alan Ritchson goes. I don't think he's at a place that he can carry a movie yet.
Oh, he can carry the movie.
Oh, he can carry the movie.
the actual
Put it on
movie,
his
but-
shoulders.
Right.
Yeah, I feel kind of like the same way with Alan Ritchson as I do with why am I freezing on Stephen Amell, as I do with Stephen Amell, right? Stephen Amell to me has just got better and better and better and better. But like in the Green Arrow days, even though I loved Green Arrow and he was great as Oliver, I never thought at that point he was ready to be like lead a movie with his acting chops. I don't know that Alan Ritchson can be the main dramatic lead actor of a film. Especially not Superman. But again, like this isn't like He-Man, where He-Man is He-Man. He-Man's got to be this giant, whatever. The guy who has to be the most physically perfect guy is Batman. Batman is supposed to be the absolute pinnacle of what is possible genetically with a human being. Superman's ability to lift a mountain doesn't come from his
Muscles.
earthly looking
Right.
like muscles.
Right.
It's a superpower, which is why Supergirl can be so much smaller than him, but almost be equivalent in strength. So yeah, it's actually not that big
And
of
also,
important of a deal.
then what happens to all the Richardson people who are like, he should be Batman? It's like, well, then is it going to be Superman and Batman
As
and everybody else?
Batman, from a pure physical point of view,
Yeah.
as Batman is an argument that makes
Yeah.
more sense.
But I'm just saying he
But
can't
as
play them
Superman,
all.
that's not that
I don't
necessary.
Buff
know.
man.
Have you seen Sonic 3 in which Jim Carrey plays against Jim Carrey?
That's true.
There we go. Alan Ritchson can be
That's
everybody.
true.
So
He can be everywhere.
Richard's not ready for the Tooth Fairy reboot then. So
I think he's absolute. I think that would be a great stepping stone.
Oh my
you actually
gosh.
hey, something like that. You actually
To get a little bit better, a
To
little
get a
bit
little
better.
bit more
I think he's going to be
range.
great, and I love him as Reacher. I absolutely love
Yeah.
him as Reacher. All right, what's next?
Corin Sweaty says, if only the great John Schnepp was still with us, bring on the Corin Sweaties.
You know,
Aw.
He would have loved it.
every once in a while, something comes out, and I talked about the first time. Talked about this, I think, on open mic the other day. The first time that I really had a moment where I had to stand still and go, Schnepp would have loved this, was when I came out of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Like, there's a lot of things I see, oh, Schnepp, but that was the first time I remember I walked out of the theater. I walked out the front doors of the theater, and I was about to go down the escalator, and I stopped for a second. I just remember thinking to myself, man, Schnepp would have loved this. I had that same feeling watching the Superman trailer. I think Schnepp would have ate it up. I think he would have loved that trailer, but that's just me. All right.
All right, we
What's
got
next?
Alex, who says, watch the Superman trailer yesterday, and it's official. DC yet again being overly reactive and course correcting, too much away from their last mistake, which was dark and serious. But now the point of goofiness. Gunn is the wrong director for this. But I think that's initial. That's a mistake people make with Gunn.
What trailer did you watch?
Yeah.
We start with Superman literally dying and spitting blood out of his mouth in the snow. We see buildings being knocked over and people screaming in the streets and a young girl. Like, if your whole thing is just about the dog, then okay. I mean, I actually like, it's funny because this complaint is the opposite. Superman didn't even smile once in the trailer.
He'd be so much prettier if he smiled.
If he just smiled more.
So
I'm like,
people would like him.
I don't know that you and I watched the same trailer.
Yeah, I smile when someone throws a can at my head.
I mean, like literally, you see,
I'll try that.
like big bright goofy, like angry people in streets throwing things at him. A kid where clearly people are dying, raising a flag, calling out for a messianic character to hopefully come and save them. Buildings falling over and cities being destroyed and people in anguish and pain and anger and like you're talking as if this was like the Thor Love and Thunder thing.
Yeah.
Again, if all you're talking about is because there's a dog, okay. Listen, I'm somebody who was completely against the idea of the dog being in the movie.
And you
I
like
saw the
Crypto,
trailer.
but you didn't
So
like
I
it
get
for the dog. I mean, for the movie.
If you don't think they should have a Crypto in it, hey, that's a valid thing. I can understand that. I'm there with you. But to say this trailer was just all goofy and whatever, like, what trailer did you watch?
I think sometimes something like triggers somebody, but then it stands out as the only thing in the trailer.
Yeah.
And
And
they
plus-
walk away from it and they're like, no, it was this or whatever.
But listen, I understand because the trailer, like everything else, is a piece of art, not going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
If you just watch it, you're like, you know what, this didn't work for me. It didn't move the needle for me. I get that. But to say that this trailer, which half of the people are complaining that he's not even smiling, there's no joy in this trailer.
Well,
And then you're saying, no, it's all just goofy and goofy. Like, what
Yeah.
part of this
Which one
trailer
is
was
it?
goofy?
And none of us can really have a definitive opinion until we all see the movie.
Yeah.
I have the only thing I'm scared about.
I know, but he's just talking about the trailer.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
fair.
from the trailer is the costumes of a couple of people, but I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm just gonna watch the movie and see if it works for me. I don't know. It's like some of the costumes may look a little funny to me, but everything else is fine.
All right, what's next?
Jojo Giraffe says, one of my favorite movie-going experience was Dunkirk. The visuals, audio overwhelmed me in the best way, and it's the number one movie I want to see in theaters again. Would you say Interstellar's re-release success makes Dunkirk re-release likely?
Dunkirk didn't have the overall impact that Interstellar did.
Yeah.
But if the purely on the basis of the question, does the success of the re-release of Interstellar increase the chances of a Dunkirk re-release? I'd say yes.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd necessarily say high chances, but I would say yes, that success probably does increase. And by the way, I loved Dunkirk.
I
too.
loved it too. You know,
I like it more than Interstellar.
I didn't know Tom Hardy was in the film. So when he
Oh, right,
flew
yeah.
in, I was like so happy. It was like one of the rare surprises I get into the movie.
All right, what's next?
Dildar, the Glorious, says, going back to my comment yesterday, I meant about the toxic fans purposefully getting angry about Crypto being in the movie because they still won't let the Snyderverse go. I just didn't have enough characters to get my point across. Well, my thing about that is there's going to be people who genuinely just don't like that, but then there's going to be people who are manufacturing the rage, and you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I think people need to keep this in mind. I said it the other day, but I think it's so important. Let me say it again. When you take Zack Snyder's fans, right? Let's say this represents Zack Snyder's fans. The percentage, the demographic of them that people refer to as the Snyder Bros, the one who just will hate everything else, they represent about this much of Snyder. A lot of Zack Snyder fans are just fans. They like Zack Snyder, but they're still looking forward to other things too. It's like, hey, I loved, obviously Man of Steel is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. I think it's a masterpiece of the genre, all that kind of stuff. I liked every movie that he made under the DCEU, personally. That's just me. But as a fan, I'm also looking forward to the new iteration. So yes, is there a segment of a very loud, mouthy segment of people out there who just have already decided that they are going to hate anything that comes out from now on? Yes. But they don't represent the overall Zack Snyder fan base. I think it's important to keep that in mind. I think the majority of Zack Snyder fan base probably enjoyed that Superman trailer. But yes, there are going to be people out there, but they're not that big of a number. They're just mouthy, that are going to find reasons because they've already decided to launch a campaign to, number one, hate this new movie, And number two, do everything they can to try to get other people to hate the movie as well. But they are a small, mouthy, pathetic minority. I think the vast majority of the Zack Snyder fan base shouldn't be lumped in with them. And again, there are going to be people who just watch this trailer and just not like it because it doesn't work for them. That's fair. That's totally fair. Like we talked about, which trailer did we talk about the other day? Electric State.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm
Didn't
looking
move
forward
it
to the
for
movie,
you.
but
Yeah.
the trailer didn't work for me.
Sure.
I'm not a Russo brothers hater by any stretch of the imagination. It just didn't work for me. There are going to be people that watch this Superman trailer and it just doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And they shouldn't just all be lumped in with that one
Yeah.
small mouthy demographic.
Yeah. It'd be the difference of this trailer didn't work for me, or you know what? Fuck Stanley Tucci. That's a very different energy.
True,
You know?
Spaghetti.
All right. What's next?
T Magic says, "Hey John and friends, I'm excited about Superman Legacy. It's actually just Superman, and curious how James Gunn will handle Crypto. I think Crypto might have a standout, funny yet epic moment like Baby Groot in Guardians. What's your take on Crypto's role?"
Okay, so my theory is it's going to be marginal.
Yeah,
I
I think so, too.
I don't think Crypto is going to be going everywhere Superman goes, Crypto goes. I don't think that. I think there's going to be some key scenes, but I don't think he's going to play that big of a role in it. I
Oh.
think he's mostly going to be at the Fortress of Solitude.
I think he tips the scale some way, somehow. Maybe a little gesture he does, it actually turns the whatever battle there is in a little.
I think there might be one other moment in the film where Superman goes. I like there's that part we saw in the trailer. There might be one other part, but again,
Yeah.
I don't think this is not the Superman and Crypto movie.
But can it be?
But please,
Can
please.
it be, please?
It's
Crypto
Christmas.
and Superman.
It's Christmas, and that's what I want.
No, I'm
this year
taking-
has been dog shit. Let me have it.
No, I'm taking my Crypto and going home.
Ritwick in the live chat, Ritwick in the live
Ritwick.
chat just brought up a great point
Okay.
and said if they don't have Crypto flying through the city and have Who Let the Dogs Out playing in the background,
Come on, Ritwick.
it will be a missed opportunity.
Ritwick.
Oh,
Oh, man.
All right, what's
Ritwick,
next?
your hero.
Patrick Bateman. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Going into the Dexter prequel series, I adjusted my expectations. The show doesn't need to hit the heights of the OG first 4 seasons. Just need it to be fun and make me want to spend my time watching the new versions of these characters. And with that in mind, this show's a massive win. They've successfully recreated the tone and feel of the first 4 OG seasons, and the recasting dynamics all work. And I just miss Deb and Dex's weird ass dynamic. You know, this show is just a good hang.
You know what? I haven't gotten around to starting watching it yet, but the trailer for it, I didn't like the idea of the show. The trailer for it won me over and made me go, you know what? Christian Slater is Harry and all that kind of stuff. I think I'm going to give it a shot. And I'm hearing some good things from people as well. So I think I'm going to give that a shot. I really appreciate you giving me your point of view on it. I'm glad you liked it. So maybe I will too.
But what does that have to do with Superman?
Yeah.
Jeez, you can't
No
throw
one
me off
really
track
did.
like that.
All right, what's next?
It's always a little nice relief when we get some other questions. Neil. Neel. He's here.
You.
So Yellowstone's final episodes were the visual equivalent of fifth graders report titled "Why Kevin Costner Sucks," and Taylor Sheridan is awesome and fun and really, really cool. By Taylor Sheridan. By Taylor Sheridan. I haven't been that let down by a finale since Lost. Did you see
know,
it?
I saw it. This is what I said about the other day, and I stand by this. I thought they did as great of a job with this final season as they could, given the circumstances. You know, the plan wasn't to end this series without Kevin Costner. They suddenly had to pivot and go in a totally different direction. And I mean, the ending of it kind of lines up with the prophecy kind of given in 1883 with what ultimately happens to the ranch and the land and all that kind of stuff. Was it the best season or the best half season of Yellowstone? No, but it kind of ended the only way it could end, given the circumstances they had with the big rift between Kevin Costner, who decided he wanted to make whatever it was called
Horizon.
for Horizon. I wanted to say Verizon. With
Yeah.
Horizon, you know, and it happened. That's the situation they're in. So now they got to, you know, it's kind of like, not apples to apples. I'm just saying there are similarities in the circumstances where all of a sudden they had to make Black Panther 2 without Chadwick Boseman. I mean, and like, you can't do the things you had planned for a long time to do. And I thought they did a pretty good job, all things considered. But that's just my personal take on it. All right, what's next?
Jamie Dutton is here. Need some advice, Gio. My sister Beth and I are feuding, and I'm a little worried. Do you think I should get a security guard? Maybe set up cameras, sensors, set up at home? Maybe set up a dead man switch exposing my family secrets, or just take my chances? Thanks.
Yeah. Listen, I will say this. I'm not justifying or defending any of the dumb things that Jamie did in Yellowstone. That said, I've always kind of felt for him because like when you go back to the core of what started this big rift with him and Beth, going back to what happened when they were kids, he was a kid who just did the best he could. And then Beth never let up. And I don't know, if you were living under that kind of pressure all the time, maybe you would do some really stupid things too. Again, I am not justifying any of the things that Jamie did. I'm just saying I always kind of felt for Jamie a little bit in the show. I really did. Even, by the way, I love the Beth character. Beth and Rip are the best romance on television ever. Yeah, that's just me. All right, what's next?
We got Neil. Reactions seem split online, with many in the worst finale since Game of Thrones camp. I might have been thoroughly disappointed by it, but I'm glad it still worked for you. Still, as a sole writer, I think Sheridan has stretched himself way too thin between his shows. I do wonder how he does it all.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Listen. I am now, because of a lot of you guys telling me to check it out, I am now watching Landman. And I'm sorry, but Landman, Mayor of Kingstown, I wonder how on earth Taylor Sheridan does it. But especially with Landman, there is no signs that he's spreading himself too thin.
Oh, dude, it's gonna suck.
Landman's really good.
It's gonna suck if it comes out he has ghostwriters.
He was dead the whole
Especially
time.
since
He was
made
dead the whole
such
time.
a stink about writer's rooms. I shouldn't be required to have this many writers. I write this stuff myself.
No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that
Yeah,
would suck.
But if it did turn out that
Yeah.
way, it'd be such a scandal.
Hey Tyler,
Ooh.
do you know anything about vampires? Maybe you could write me a Blade script and get that thing going.
Yeah, listen, if you haven't started watching Landman,
Blade Man.
I don't think it's as good as say Yellowstone, but Landman with Billy Bob Thornton, John Hamm, Demi Moore, it's really good so far. I'm really liking it. But anyway, all right, what's next?
Duck has a couple parts here. Buenas tardes. I'm 21 and love movies, but have not seen the majority of classics. I recently bought a scratch-off movie poster of some crowd favorites movies to get started. So far, I've watched all for the first time. Gladiator.
Ahead of me.
Requiem for a Dream. It's a feel-good movie of the year. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and The Apartment. I absolutely love them all. Commodus is one of the most interesting antagonists ever. The score and train scene in Requiem was haunting. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And the effects in Eternal Sunshine is incredible.
Oh, there's a third one.
The Apartment is my biggest surprise because I loved every second of it
Yes.
and was expecting very little from a 60s film. I should rephrase that, but I get frustrated when people are like, well, it's from the 60s or it's from the 40s or 50s. It's a story. It doesn't matter. I love the way characters bounce back and forth dialogue wise. Don't regret buying this poster in the least. Feliz Navidad.
At least not
And listen, The Apartment, I think I talked about, I think it was just a couple weeks ago I was talking about The Apartment. Listen, a lot of people today, when they go back and watch the original Star Trek, and they see Uhura and Kirk kiss, they think, okay, Uhura and Kirk kiss. You don't get it. That was the first time ever in America that a white and a black character kissed on
There
a
was
television
boycotts
show.
called.
Yeah. It was like,
for it.
they're like, it, and America got angry and all that kind of stuff. The
Star Trek
Apartment,
went woke.
even by today's standards a little bit, Chris,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of risque.
Yeah.
Well, and
yeah.
dark at times.
Yeah. I mean, when you consider when it was made, by the way, just as a quick side note, a lot of people often over the years have written and say, hey, I've only ever watched new movies. Like if I was going to try to go back and watch a bunch of classics, what should I do? Honestly, very good place to start is just do a quick Google search for it. The AFI Top 100. Go and it's not necessarily my top 100, but if you just go to the AFI Top 100 and you want to get caught up on some of the greatest movies ever made, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, you won't like them all, but you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing the research.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Jay Newby says that Pac-Man episode of Secret Level had me shook. What a take. Also, Ray, did you get dead Yamcha vibes from Superman laying in the snow? A lot of people have said that. I think I've mispronounced that. Looked almost identical. Thanks for being so entertaining, everyone. Even all the viewers, you all kill it.
That's one of the first things I said to you when you came in. Did you see the pose, the Yamcha pose?
The Dragon Ball.
It's been used in a lot of other things like that, right?
It's yeah.
I don't think that was an accident. I don't think that was a James Gunn. I think James Gunn knew exactly what he was doing, putting that in there.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people caught it. So, all right, what's next?
Forbidden says, I believe MCU's X-Men will be loosely based on all new X-Men Blue Gold run. Doctor Doom will probably merge the two worlds together.
But the thing is, the MCU has already said there's more than two worlds.
Yeah, maybe he just means his.
Yeah, maybe
616 and Doom's world. I don't know.
I mean, it all depends on how close they go with the Secret Wars, at least the updated modern day Secret Wars, and what they do there. So I don't know. All I know is that I'm very, very happy that they have confirmed that this will be bringing to an end the multiverse saga. I am so tired of multiverse. That doesn't mean these movies can't be awesome. I'm looking forward to them. I think they're going to do a great job. I don't like time travel either, but I love Back to the Future and I love Star Trek Voyage Home. So I think these will be great, but I'm also very happy that they're ending it off. So whether it's worlds merging, worlds getting eliminated, doors just getting closed, we'll see how they handle it, but it'll be interesting. All right, what's next?
We got Tender Whispers, who says, I had some downtime at work the other night, so I decided to watch The Substance.
Whoa.
I was stunned, to say the least. Demi Moore was so good in this film. Her physical transformation and mental deterioration were so well done, and that ending was horrific, yet so tragic.
And it's getting some award season buzz, by the way, at the same time. And I get it. I really do. It wasn't... I was late to the party on it. I was actually really, really late to the party on it.
Oh, so you saw it?
Yeah, I finally did get around to seeing it. Not what I was expecting.
Did it gross
No.
you out?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Like stomach, a little bit.
It was
but kind of like the.
It was the food stuff for me. More than anything, the food stuff was
Yeah,
like, ugh.
like hot dog on a stick.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's next?
Let's see. Oh, we did Tender Whispers. We got Anonymous says, I disagree with you, John. I think Superman will make over $1 billion. It's opening in the summer. Yay for the summer blockbusters. It's going to be a movie for all the family. Kids are going to love it, especially the dog. And then you have got the DC fans.
The DC fans that made Blue Beetle barely make not even make $200 million.
That's
The
not fair.
the DC fans that didn't go out to see Shazam, the DC fans that didn't go out to see Aquaman 2, the DC fans that didn't go out to see Black Adam, the DC fan like those.
Yeah, where
DC
the hell
fans?
was Gondor?
So look, I hope you're right. I would love for you to be right. I think there are just too many hurdles that this Superman movie is going to need to take down to open up future DCU movies to make $1 billion, right? Again, you just got so much negative baggage coming from, again, the Snyder Bros and from people who are just completely turned off of the DCEU because it ultimately just failed as a cinematic universe. It's got a lot of hurdles to get over. Too many that I think that it can be $1 billion film. I think it can make money. I think it can be successful. But I just think it's got too many bridges it's got to build that Superman, the movie, has to build so future films can do super well. But again, I hope you're right and I'm wrong, man. I really, really do. All right, what's next?
Brandon Salas says, hey, crew, did you catch Naughty Dog's announcement of their new game, Intergalactic? Looks like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are doing the score. Can't wait to see what Neil Druckmann cooks up.
Heard about it. Don't really know anything about it, though.
Got to see it, right? It's like one of those things. It's like
Have they put out a trailer for it?
I don't know if it's just an announcement or what.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, what's next?
All right, Victor, for Chris,
Oh.
if you're there. She's here.
I'm
So
here.
I figured you might have many connections in the voice acting community. Do you know anyone who has let slip if they've worked on the upcoming GTA 6? Also, blink twice fast if you have as well. Kidding, don't want to get you in trouble.
No, I haven't worked on any of the Grand Theft Auto games, and I'd love to. And
But do you know anybody
I don't
who
have any
has?
friends who are doing that. I have a lot of friends who are playing it, but I don't think I have some people I can double check with and ask. 'Cause maybe my buddy Raul's done it. 'Cause he's done everything. I'll find out. I'll find out and see who I'm allowed to say.
All right.
All right. Couple from DJ Infa says, I thought CW elevated the popularity of Green Arrow as a character to the non-comic book reading fans as well. And I hoped we would get Oliver on the big screen. But do you think they more or less made him TV's Batman making him TV's Batman hurt the chances? He's never rumored.
No, listen, James Gunn has a lot of movies he's going to make. And they've only announced a small percentage of what they're doing. I have no doubt that we are going to get a big screen Green Arrow. Or at least an HBO series. Which, hey, if Penguin is any indication, they're going to treat their HBO series as right. So I have no doubt, and no, I don't think having a CW version of Green Arrow is hurting it, because they had a CW version of Superman, and we're about to get our Superman movie. So no, I think we'll get them. But remember, they got a lot of time and they have a lot of characters. So we'll definitely get Green Arrow at some point.
Follows up. Do you know what Sony's plan was if their Spidey spin-off movies was a hit? Team up and fight Tom Holland when he's still on loan at Marvel, because Venom was, if that's the case, at least see that through. So basically, if Sony's stuff succeeded, what was their overall plan?
I don't think any of them would have involved Tom Holland. Yeah. If Sony could make Tom Holland in their movies, they would have had Tom Holland as Spider-Man in their movies already. So there's just no getting around that. What was there? Listen, they're still making movies. Again, that report that came out. No, let me rephrase that. The report that initially came out of the Wrap never said that Sony was done making movies. They said they don't have any others on the pipeline for now. But people took that and ran with it all over the internet. And we tried to tell people, but they ran all the internet. Sony's officially done. They're killing their Spider Universe. And we tried to tell people, no, they're not. Then finally, Variety then put out an article. Did you see that one? Variety put out an article the other day debunking that. It's like, no, they're not done. They are going to make more movies. But they've got to rethink how they make them. Because even though these Spider-Verse movies have been profitable overall, you want to go in the right direction. So we'll see where they're ultimately going. Oh my God, Craven is so bad. Craven is so bad.
Do you think it's going to be on digital by Boxing Day? Because I have a tradition of watching terrible movies and making a drinking game out of them. And I'd really like
probably
to do
already
that.
on digital.
I was going to say, I think it'll be on digital by lunch.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
I'm selling
maybe.
copies. You want one?
Let's go.
I'm just kidding.
All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, Karate Kid post-credit scene. Ben Wang is training alone in a dojo when a mysterious figure walks in to talk to him about the Miyagi Initiative. That person is Jaden Smith. You're welcome. What character? What are the chances that he has a cameo?
Jaden Smith?
Ooh.
I mean, we can look it up. I don't know that he's like.
I mean, there's certainly been no news about it, but that, a surprise cameo. I wouldn't say terrible. I wouldn't think the chances would be terrible.
So is
For a
this a
quick
part of
cameo?
that story then? Is Jackie Chan playing the same character as that?
He's the
person?
same character.
Yeah, he's the same
Oh,
guy.
okay.
But
So-
he's not listed on the cast.
So
Jaden
this could be a
Smith.
reference.
No, it would be a surprise cameo
Yeah.
for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, right.
Like, I don't think he's going to be playing a role in the film, but a quick cameo, I wouldn't bet on it, but I wouldn't say the chances are terrible. All right, what's next?
We got Sean Clegg, who says, I cried during the Superman trailer. This is the Superman I've waited my whole life for. Symbol of hope, light-hearted, and hearing Williams' score gave me goosebumps. James Gunn gets it.
It is stunning to me, especially when the trailer dropped on DC's YouTube channel. And as I went through the comments in there, how many times that phrase was used. James Gunn gets it. I mean, I think there was an article today too. I can't remember if it was in Screen Rant or whatever. That says, like, if nothing else, this trailer shows us that James Gunn understands Superman better than most people. And he does. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to deliver the best movie. I hope he does. I have a lot of faith in it that he will. But yeah, when you see this, and you hear the stories that he references that are part of the inspiration of this particular story, he gets Superman. He does. And now, whether that means he'll make a good movie, that's the jury's out on that. We'll find out. But yeah, he definitely does get it. All right, what's next?
Jerry says, "Hi, John and crew. After this first teaser of Superman and the hype it generated, what do you think will be the movie of the big three? Rebirth, Supes, Fantastic Four, to risk a flop at the box office."
I'm not sure I understand the
Yeah,
question.
are you saying what's going to be big or what's going to be bad? I mean,
And what were the three options? Fantastic
well,
Four,
HE
Superman?
Rebirth. What's HE Rebirth? Supes and Fantastic Four. What is Rebirth? Is there a movie coming?
Yeah. We did Jurassic World.
Oh,
Rebirth.
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Which one would be the biggest out of the three? Probably Jurassic
World Rebirth will be the
Yeah,
biggest of
probably
the
is
three.
the most established.
I'm not saying I think it's going to be the best, but like the last Jurassic World movie that not a lot of people even liked made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
I don't think this Fantastic Four will make $1 billion. I think it's going to be great, and I don't think Superman's going to make it. Yeah, so I think the biggest out of them will be the Jurassic World movie, and then hopefully the Superman movie will be the best one.
You actually bought that movie, remember, on digital? You were like, "Oh, we gotta watch this."
No, I didn't buy it. It was on
It
you.
was me.
You did that.
So, but
Frickin'.
it's now on your history.
Yeah, I know.
Now on
It's
your
all
history.
listen, I remember I came walking in the house. I'm like, why is this Jurassic
It's
World
me and-
movie on the TV? It's
me
like
and,
Ray is sitting there.
Yeah, me and my
watching.
cousin Joan were watching it. We wanted to watch it, so now it's on John's history
But then if I'm
of purchases.
rereading it, maybe he's asking like what has the biggest risk like associated for a flop. I would say Superman.
Yeah,
Because
I
if it's
think-
bad, that's a whole world.
Yeah, see, here's the thing about I think Fantastic Four is a very safe one. In the I don't mean they're going to approach it safe, but
Yeah.
I mean I do not think it's going to flop at all. I don't think it's in any danger of flopping, and I don't think it's going to be $1 billion movie either. I think it's going to be very comfortable. It's going to make money, all that kind of stuff. Jurassic World is definitely going to make money. Like whether it's $1 billion film or not, who knows? But it's definitely going to make money. Superman is the one with the biggest potential to flop because of all the reasons that I've been telling people that I don't think it's going to make a ton of money. It's got a lot of obstacles it has to overcome. It can be great, like Transformers 1, and like Transformers 1, possibly flop. So I'd say Superman has the potential to be the best of the movies, but it also has the biggest potential to flop. Not that I think it will. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous who says, "I saw a fan pic of Corn Sweat and Pattinson together, and I hope they find a way to do it. It'd be hard, but if anyone can do it, it'd be Reeves and Gunn. Also, is Guy Gardner wearing a wig in the movie?
Yes.
It'd be in character that he hides his gray or balding hair as he's aging."
Oh, that's a good question. But getting back to the whole Robert Pattinson thing, James Gunn has already shot that down.
Yeah.
He said it's something, of course, he considered at first because he wants to consider everything, but they ultimately decided against that. So we're not going to see Robert Pattinson there. And that's fine with me because I don't think Robert Pattinson's Batman, as much as I love it, will fit in this new DCU.
Imagine that Pattinson's Batman walks out of the room and just starts seeing people flying.
Yeah, yeah. So they've already kind of said that. But could it
He'd
be
retire.
that in the movie, this guy Gardner is actually wearing a hairpiece?
Like a hair, yeah.
Because that kind of would be in line with maybe.
That's funny.
Actually, no, I don't think they will, but that's an interesting observation. I like that.
Mike Rashetta says, "I don't think we should compare Superman box office to Man of Steel, but rather 22's The Batman, New World, bad DC movie fatigue. Some fan groups saying the lead isn't their Batman or Supes, and Batman was 3 hours long. If Superman is great, I think it'll hit 750. So he's saying the benchmark would be the Batman, I guess.
I don't think there is a benchmark.
I don't either.
There is no benchmark. This is a very unique situation that Superman is being released in. It's being released as, number one, the launch of a brand new cinematic universe with a recasted Superman, a brand new world, a brand new universe and a story that is facing a massive uphill battle because of all the audience that abandoned the DC movies ages ago, and then that fragment of the audience that wants to hold on to the ones that got abandoned a bunch of years ago. It just is fake. We don't have a comparable to that right now. There just is no comparable. So the benchmark is that just really that, can it make enough money, the $450 to $550 million, to at least break even? And I've been telling people, and I'm sorry, I'm right. It doesn't even matter that much whether they break even or not. Because again, it's not about whether Superman makes money. It's about if Superman can rehabilitate the image of DC and get people excited about DC again so that all the future movies can make money. the people at Warner Brothers and James Gunn and Peter Safran aren't going to lose a lot of sleep if Superman loses $50 million. What they will lose a lot of sleep on is if people don't like the movie. That's what they'll lose sleep on. So the benchmark is nebulous at best for this movie. So yeah, because it's all about the future success, not about the current success. Current success is going to be based on whether people like it. All right, what's next?
Harv's case is, John, I'm like you with Creature Commandos. It's fun, but not quite grabbing me as of yet. But after this week's episode 4, that is Weasel-centric, I may be all in. Damn, I should never underestimate James Gunn. The guy just loves tearing your heart out.
I still haven't seen episode 3. I mean, I am going to. I have not tapped out of the show. It's just that I haven't felt overly motivated to rush out and watch the next episode. I saw the first 2 episodes. I thought they were fine. I liked them. But I've not watched episode 3 or episode 4 yet. But I will get caught up here because I'm hearing good things. All right, what's next?
Fred the Hedgehog says, hey, John and crew, Sonic 3 has arrived. Looks great. Reviews at 88% Rotten Tomatoes and audience score of 98, but have requested for Ray and Chris, I want guys to sing to John and Jonathan the iconic song of Live and Learn by Crush 40. So the Live and Learn, was that in the movie?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the song is.
Yeah, but it's obviously one that Ray did not like.
Oh my God. It was that. Oh,
Is that the one that didn't work for you? In the skydiving
I am so
scene?
sorry if that is like important to Sonic fans. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I listen, to me, Sonic 3 is a thumbs up. It's another win for them. I just don't think it's quite as good as 1 and 2, but definitely one you should go see. It's a lot of fun. All right, what's next?
Alex says Superman 78 had Brando and Hackman. Nolan got Morgan Freeman, Gary Oldman, Liam Neeson, Cillian Murphy, Michael Caine, and more for Batman Begins. Gun Superman has Wendell Pierce and Rachel Brosnahan. Like it's a Netflix series. Why no movie stars? Guardians didn't have any.
I mean,
when it first started.
Yeah, Chris Pratt was just that guy on Parks and Rec.
People were like, dude, he's that doughy guy from Parks and Rec. What? Yeah. People were against it.
Yeah, no, getting big movie stars. James Gunn had a very clear mandate. I'm going to get the best people for the role. And by the way, the one playing Lois Lane is a multi-Emmy winner. Just throwing that out there. Rachel Brosnahan is like won a lot of trophies for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but that's not the important thing. Like for years, the audience has screamed, just get the best person for the role. Okay, well, that's what he did. James Gunn went through a lot of people and decided Dave Cornsweet is the guy to play Superman. Now, whether that he's right or not, we'll find out when we see the movie. But that's the thing. He did what everybody's always asked for. Just get the best person for the role. I don't think we should criticize him for that. And by the way, when he's saying it looks like a Netflix thing, well, listen, now these Netflix and Peacock series, they're getting in Oscar winners for all their stuff now too. So yeah. Why? Because none of those other people were the best person for the role. I mean, James Gunn even said in that one interview, listen, you would be shocked at the people that didn't get the role. You'd be shocked at the list of people that their agents sent us in as being interested in it. And they just weren't, not that they weren't great, but they weren't right for the role. So we'll see how it turns out. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, hi all, love watching the show. My wife and I saw Wicked for the second time yesterday. Tears. I went home and added my ticket to the collection of movie tickets I've created since Harry Potter in 2010.
Wow.
Love movies. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
I have a buddy of mine who's a film journalist who I remember like pulled out this box once, and he's literally kept every movie stub that he had since like the 1980s.
Yeah, I have the same, but now it's all digital, so I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's different now, right? Like I don't have them. I can go out to my AMC A-List app and go through my history of my tickets, but it's different now. But I think that's an awesome thing to do is collect those.
My concert tickets, I have the same, hundreds
You just
of
have
them.
to buy a new phone every time.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Let's see. Superman says, why do all the sets and costumes in the new Superman movie look so brown or yellow? Do you think the filmmakers were inspired by bodily functions? There's a lot of people that don't like the color treatment, but I'm not seeing it. Someone was like, it's blue everywhere.
What had brown in it besides the Hawk Girl costume?
The only thing I can think of is, the Daily Planet, but it's supposed to look retro.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of yellows and browns in that, but it's like, again,
I see any of that Superman, any of
I
that
don't see
Guy
any of
Gardner,
this.
any
these
of that
guys
in
see a shot, it triggers them, and it's like it's the whole thing, and it's like just rewatch it.
All
It's
right.
only one spot.
All right,
Oh,
what's next?
okay.
Nashville's #1 JCS fan. Been a fan of the JCS team and shows since early AMC days.
Thank you, man.
Often say I watch you instead of Sports Center. I certainly don't always agree with all of your perceptions, but love the subjectivity vision for discussion. Part 2, that said, I'm wired for identifying inconsistencies. In your review for Craven, your first critique of the incompetence in which this film was made was because of characters standing on a frozen tundra talking, and we can't see their breath. Oh, there's a part 3. Okay, that makes more sense. In the opening of Superman teaser, you have Superman lying in the snow whistling, and Crypto barking with no physical breath. How can this be an unforgivable sin for Craven, but Superman gets a pass?
2 different reasons. Number 1, Superman is not a human being. We don't know what his alien physiology does.
He also blows ice breath.
Yeah, he also blows super breath. So, I mean, there's that too. So it is what it is. Alien creature, you can come up with any excuse that you want for that in the world. So it's one thing. Number 2, it is just the trailer. Oftentimes in these trailers, there's little stuff like that then once you watch the movie, those little finishing touches are then put in later. So I'm not going to worry about that. With Craven, I saw it in the movie. Like, I remember I thought about that when they released the first 8 minutes, but I decided not to criticize it yet because it was just the first 8 minutes. It might be a part of the finishing touches once they get the full movie out and on screen. And then when I saw the movie on screen and they had multiple scenes of people standing out in the frozen tundras of Russia and you can't even see their breath.
None of them.
Or people having a conversation on a very windy plain in Africa, but they're just putting playing cards down on a table and the wind doesn't affect them at all. That's different. So for those reasons, and remember, the movie's still 7 months away, I'm not going to criticize it in the trailer, much like I didn't criticize it in the first 8 minutes of Craven, because that's not the finished movie yet. Turns out they didn't fix it once the finished movie came out. So we'll see how that all plays out once the actual movie comes out. All right, what's next?
Chai T says, part 1 of 2, love the idea of a reverse Kingdom Come story for Superman. I know you hate talking about politics, but seeing the cheering for vigilantism in recent healthcare CEO shootings and how divided society is right now, I feel like Casey's story is timely. My question is, John, would you like Superman to learn or to lean hard into social political commentary, or just be a fun movie with heart? I feel like Superman has the potential to touch something cultural like Squid Games did.
All major movies touch on political and cultural stuff. I mean, George Lucas talked about that in depth, and like that's truly what they are, because art in and of itself is an artist's way of looking at the world the way it is, the way they fear it could be, the way it was, and the way they dream it can be. That's what art, when artists create art, that's kind of their interpretation of the world and telling stories about the world. And that intrinsically will then communicate some sort of sociological, political, cultural point of view and viewpoint, right? People only get upset about it when it's not their perception of the culture, the politics, or whatever. Anyway, so it by nature needs to touch on that a little bit. How much they want to go into that, that's up to each individual movie. But look, all I care about is that they tell a good story. And if they tell a good story that's very heavy political, so be it. If they tell one that's dodges most politics, so be it. I just want a good movie. And as long as they deliver that, I'll be happy. All right, what's next?
Let's see. Forbidden. I thought Robotnik's father was his grandfather. Anyway, doesn't really follow the games per se. Excuse me. Gerald Robotnik should be dead. Also, where the hell is Amy Rose? She should be stalking Sonic by now.
You know what? I remember thinking when I found out that it was actually his grandfather, thinking, doesn't quite look old enough. But I will say this. This isn't a spoiler. He does say, I'm 115 years old. I was like, okay, you're old enough to be his grandfather. So they actually drop a line. But he doesn't look... Anyway, that might be a spoiler, what I was about to say. Okay, so we'll leave that alone. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, I think Ultraman will be the DCU take on Bizarro. Admit it, Bizarro is kind of the character Gunn would take pride in adapting for modern audiences. Bizarro's resemblance to Superman could help Clark cover his secret identity.
Here's the thing. Because of what you just said, that Bizarro is totally the kind of character that James Gunn would do, I don't think Ultraman is just a version of Bizarro. I think he's going to do Bizarro at some point. I think James Gunn is just straight up going to do Bizarro. And so I think that'll be different than Ultraman because of exactly the logic you just said. I think that just makes more sense to me. But you might be right. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
Dan V900 says, for Superman, people have talked about Fantastic Four coming out 2 weeks later. Its biggest competition is really Jurassic World Rebirth, which comes out 9 days earlier. And every JW film making $1 billion. Superman is sandwiched between them, not the best release date.
Here's the thing, though. Hardcore people who want to see Jurassic World are going to see it within the first 3 days.
Yeah.
Hardcore people who want to see Fantastic Four are going to see it within the first 3 days. The hardcore audience that wants to see Superman is going to see them within the first 3 days. That's just the statistics of it. It can work fine. And it's in the summer. It's a big movie-going season. And if anything, if people go to see Jurassic World and love it, I mean, it's like anything else with human behavior. We go, we have a great experience at a restaurant. We look forward to going out and eating again. We go to a movie and have a great time at the movies. We're looking forward to jumping back in and going to the movies again. So it can work out great in its favor. And as long as it's got a little bit of a buffer zone between them, I think it'll be fine. All right. What's next?
Mr. I says, light non-plot revealing spoiler for Sonic 3. Looks like Jim Carrey joined this movie to join exclusive club, the fourth wall breaking Canadian club, joining Tatiana Maslany, Ryan Reynolds. I really like this movie. Very charming.
Yep. But I cannot talk about what you're referencing because that would be a spoiler. So not going to do that. But yes, it's a very exclusive club. All right. What's next?
Mega Red says, love Sonic 3 without having seen the other two. Oh, because we talked about this the other day.
That's right.
I loved it. I thought it was at its best when it leaned more into anime aesthetics. The climax was basically a Dragon Ball Z fight. The movie felt like a gateway superhero movie for kids.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they definitely make these Sonic movies like superhero movies. 100% they do. 100% they do. And yeah, I agree with everything that you said. It's a blast. It's great. But now I think you're going to like 1 and 2 even more. Like they're all 3 Sonic movies. It's very difficult to make a good movie. It's really damn hard to make 3 movies that are all good and entertaining. And they found a way to do it.
And centered on a video game. Or
especially being centered on a video game. 100%. All right, how many more do we got?
I got to count. I'll count on the next one.
Okay. Because we got to wrap up here.
Yeah. John, you said you were skeptical about Superman's dog, but would you now say that you are invested in crypto?
Invested in crypto.
Oh,
you don't need to say anything. I'll escort myself out.
Go.
That's actually not bad. That's pretty. That was pretty funny.
And then Forbidden says, I thought Gunn denied Ultraman. Did he? And then I'll count the.
Well, he's got the Ultraman sim. I don't recall.
Oh, there's only 3 more.
I don't recall hearing James Gunn denying Ultraman.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it clearly looks, he's got the big U. I mean, so maybe it's not, but I don't recall hearing James Gunn deny Ultraman. Anyway. All right. What's next?
All right. Let's see. We got Mr. I says, I can see why they released the Superman trailer yesterday. They didn't want Creature Commandos spoiling what Superman looks like. Waller sees a vision where the JL, Teen Titans, Peacemaker, and Vigilante are dead. It was Corn Sweat's Superman on a crucifix.
But everybody already knows that doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Everybody already knows David Cornsweet's playing the character.
Yeah.
They already put out pictures. Remember, James Gunn released pictures of David Cornsweet as Superman when he's sitting there putting on his boots and with Metropolis in the background. So, no, I mean, they've already given away what he looks like, and that's all fine. Mm-hmm. Unless something is going to happen in Creature Commandos later that would have originally been revealed in the trailer. Other than that, I don't think Creature Commandos had anything to do with the timing of the Superman trailer, to be honest with you. But who knows? Maybe once Creature Commandos progresses, we'll find out that it did. All right, what's next?
Forbidden says, I get the underwear thing, but is superhero logic. It's a superhero world that doesn't apply to the real world. There are monsters and stuff in it.
We're only talking about whether something looks good or bad. I think the underoos look bad. There are going to be people out there who think it looks good. That's great. For me, I think it's a dumb look, but that's just me. All right, what's next?
Benny S is, why is it not showing? Oh, no, sorry. Lex Luthor. No. Benny S, sorry. I admit what you do with the adoptive family to friends of mine who were neighbors had their, or admire what you do for that. To friends of mine who were neighbors and had their homes burned down a week ago. Nothing was salvageable. Luckily, they were safe, but having to rebuild from nothing is heartbreaking. Donations only go so far for you, you know?
I mean, there are things money can't replace. And that's the thing that really gets me when I hear about somebody's house burning down. Is like, hopefully you have insurance and financially you'll be covered, but it's the things you lose. right? That money just doesn't replace. I know there are things in my house that nobody would look at and think are worth a damn, but they would be irreplaceable to me for what they are. And that's really the hard part when your home burns down. Like your next door neighbor had their house,
Right.
it
But
didn't
it
burn
looks like a
down,
garage,
but
but
had a
they
lot
had-
of fire damage.
Home is comfort.
Yeah.
And when you lose that, where do you go? You feel like you have no place to go. So I understand that sentiment.
All right, what's next?
Okay, this is the last one. Lex Luthor. My money is on Chris Pratt cameoing as Jor-El. Also betting Mrs. Kent is the one who died in this version. The anti-Martha agenda strikes again.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. I also think it's a possibility that they're both in the movie and neither of them die, but they could pull that switcheroo we talked about the other day. Chris Pratt was seen on set of Superman.
Oh, yeah, he was.
And they said, oh, no, he's just visiting because him and James Gunn are buddies. I don't know that
Just
I
like
buy
Momoa,
that.
huh?
I don't think you're going to see him as Jor-El, though. I don't think that. I think if anything, I think he might be a voice. Oh, yes, as Star-Lord.
As Star-Lord.
You see Star-Lord flying around in space, and this baby in a capsule goes flying by him towards Earth.
Yeah.
But I do think, at minimum a voice. Maybe he's the voice of Kellex. Maybe he's the voice of that. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, was that it?
That's it.
And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora,
See you guys.
Jonathan
next
Boyko,
You're rubbing the ribs. See you guys next week.
Chris Carr.
Happy holidays. I don't think I see any of you until after Christmas.
Oh,
Chri-
that's right.
Christmas.
Until Christmas.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.